Chapter 754. Senior. Ning Cheng did not expect that the celestial shatterer cultivator behind him would unexpectedly call out to him with the respectful tone. Ning Cheng stopped and looked at the white-haired celestial shatterer cultivator and asked, "Are you looking for me?" The celestial shatterer cultivator quickly stepped forward and spoke with a bow. "This junior is called AI Ku. If Senior is a friend of Little Miss and really came back to deliver something for Little Miss, then please follow this junior." Ning Cheng directly brought out the starry sky wheel and let the celestial shatterer cultivator stand on the starry sky wheel before speaking. "If the Little Miss you mentioned is Yu Qing, then you can lead the way." No matter who the other party was or what they wanted to do, Ning Cheng was not afraid. With his current cultivation, even if several eternal cultivators besieged him, he could still escape with ease. "Yes." The celestial shatterer cultivator quickly responded. Chasing Bull controlled the starry sky wheel and quickly moved away from Yu Clan's corner under the guidance of the celestial shatterer cultivator. More than an hour later, the starry sky wheel stopped in front of an open-air makeshift market. This makeshift market was very low level, and the highest cultivator in it was only in the celestial bridge realm. Moreover, there were very few of them. Most of the cultivators were below the celestial bridge realm and only in the celestial scryer realm. AI Ku took Ning Cheng through 7 or 8 turns, and finally arrived at a corner of the makeshift market. There were no shops here, only some temporary and crude cave residences. Although these caves looked shabby, it was not because they were poorly built, but because the starry sky essence chi in these caves was extremely sparse. As such, it could not be regarded as a good place for cultivation. Ning Cheng estimated that if he cultivated in such a place, without any external help, even if he cultivated for 10,000 years, he wouldn't be able to advance to the eternal realm. AI Ku stopped in front of an immortal cave. AI Ku had not yet opened the immortal cave's restriction, but Ning Cheng could already see the situation inside the immortal cave. There was only one person in the immortal cave, and it was someone that Ning Cheng knew. Ning Cheng only knew that the talkative girl who had been with Yu Qing at that time was called Cici. But now, Cici's face was haggard, and her hair was a mess. She looked more than 10 years older than before. His cultivation was hovering around the celestial shatterer realm, and from the looks of it, it was still regressing. Seeing Cici, Ning Cheng felt the sense of familiarity in his heart. Cici was one of Yu Qing's people. Since Ning Cheng treated Yu Qing differently, he also treated Cici differently. AI Ku opened the cave's restrictions, and Ning Cheng instructed Chasing Bull to stand guard outside before following AI Ku into the cave. "Cici, this senior said that he is Mrs. Friend," Aiku said hurriedly as soon as he came in. Cici looked up at Ning Cheng in a daze, and then her eyes showed a trace of surprise. Interrupting Aiku's words, she spoke, "You are..." "That's right, you're called Ning Cheng. Elder sister Qing told me about you. Why are you here?" After she finished speaking, Cici suddenly remembered AI Ku's words from before and quickly asked, "Senior apprentice brother Ning, did you see sister Qing afterwards?" Ning Cheng turned to AI Ku and spoke, "AI Ku, you go out for a bit. I want to speak to junior apprentice sister Cici alone." "All right." Aiku bowed respectfully and left the room. "How did you get here? Didn't Sister Qing say that you fell in the time wilderness?" "Originally, elder sister Qing was looking for you to cooperate with her. But since she couldn't find any news about you, she decided to cooperate with another person." Cici, on seeing Ning Cheng, a person she was not familiar with, seemed to speak a lot more. She could not react for a while and could not think of how Ning Cheng found AI Ku. Ning Cheng sighed and looked at Cici before speaking, "I'm sorry, Cici. I lied to Yu Qing. In fact, Wanderer is just my alias. Yu Qing entered the time wilderness again because of me." Yu Qing entered the time wilderness for the second time because of Wanderer, which Cici already knew. She even knew that elder sister Qing had fallen in love with the Wanderer who carried her on his back for a few years and never abandoned her. She never thought that Ning Cheng was Wanderer. Moreover, Ning Cheng did not fall but came out of the time wilderness. After hearing Ning Cheng's words, Cici suddenly felt dumbfounded. After a long time, she suddenly understood and pointed at Ning Cheng while stammering, "I understand, you are Jiangzhou's Wanderer, the Jiangzhou's wanderer who rushed to the top of the 9x9 celestial scryer tower. If Ning Cheng had not mentioned the name wanderer, even if Cici knew that the person who reached the top of the celestial scryer tower was called Jiangzhou's wanderer, she would not have thought of Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng nodded. Yes, I'm that Jiangzhou's wanderer. Cici's shock only lasted for a moment before she once again turned decadent, and her tone turned abnormally low. Elder Sister Qing really has a good eye. She once said that the person she likes must be outstanding. Even if it was within the celestial scryer tower, that person would have to be ranked first. Although she did not see it with her own eyes, you managed to climb to the 81st floor of the celestial scryer tower. Unfortunately, Elder Sister Qing is no longer here. Cici spoke halfway when her tone suddenly changed, turning even more depressed and sad. Ning Cheng spoke up slowly. Cici, when Yu Qing met me, I was just an ordinary wanderer. When she fell in love with me, I had not yet reached the 81st floor of the celestial scryer tower. The reason why she said that was because she did not want people to keep bothering her. She was a person with a good temperament, a good woman. Cici sighed. From childhood to adulthood, I have always been with Elder Sister Qing. I have never seen a kinder person than Elder Sister Qing. Did you know? That time in the rest stop in the revolving Jade City, Elder Sister Qing asked me to pour wine on you, but it was actually to save you. The white-robed heaven-seated cultivator who targeted you was a demon. He likes to devour the spiritual roots of cultivators. He left a spiritual consciousness mark on you, which made Elder Sister Qing want to help you. Thinking that Yu Qing was no longer here, Cici could not continue. I know. Ning Cheng's tone also turned a little lonely. If he could, he would rather save Yu Qing at any cost. You should leave quickly. Remember not to let anyone know that you are a Jiangzhou's wanderer. If someone knows that you are a Jiangzhou's wanderer, maybe someone will try to take over your body. I can't even protect myself right now, and I can't help you. Under the great changes, Cici's temperament had also changed a lot. If it were before, she would have definitely blamed Ning Cheng for Yu Qing's death. But now, she just wanted Ning Cheng to leave quickly. Elder Sister Qing risked her life to save this person, and she did not want to let Elder Sister Qing down. Ning Cheng did not leave. He calmed his mood and spoke. Cici, tell me what happened? Why are you hiding here? Ai Ku did not say that Ning Cheng came here to deliver something to Yu Qing before Cici interrupted him. Cici's mind was in a mess right now, so she did not think too much about Ning Cheng coming here. She knew that Ning Cheng was the person Elder Sister Qing liked. Now that Ning Cheng asked about it, she did not hide it. Shortly after Elder Sister Qing left, Aunt Lan fell in the Twin Tower Hill. Who is Aunt Lan? Where is the Twin Tower Hill? Ning Cheng asked immediately. Aunt Lan is Elder Sister Qing's master, and I cultivate behind Aunt Lan. The Twin Tower Hill is a trial ground outside Culmination Starland. When Aunt Lan went to the Twin Tower Hill, she had just advanced to the late-stage life and death realm. It's not because the Twin Tower Hill is too dangerous that Aunt Lan fell, but because of that dog thief Ji Lei. That dog thief killed Aunt Lan. Cici even gnashed her teeth as she spoke. Who is Ji Lei? How could he kill Aunt Lan, a late-stage life and death realm cultivator? Ning Cheng's tone turned a little unfriendly. Cici did not hear the difference in Ning Cheng's tone and explained. Ji Lei is Chuan Xinluo's dog with early-stage eternal cultivation. Ning Cheng asked in confusion. If Chuan Xinluo had any ideas about Yu Clan's corner, he would have already destroyed it. Why would he send Ji Lei? Cici shook her head. No, Ji Lei killed Aunt Lan because of those despicable people from Yu Clan's corner. In Yu Clan's corner, there is a vicious woman named Baoinga. She was the one who sent Ji Lei to kill Aunt Lan. After she instigated Ji Lei to kill Aunt Lan, she then framed Aunt Yan for losing her virtue. After Yu Clan crippled Aunt Yan's cultivation and locked her in the water prison, she and her sister immediately took away Aunt Lan's essence chi praying mat. So, Baoinga killed Aunt Lan because of that essence chi praying mat? Baoinga's surname is not Yu, so how could she do such evil things in Yu Clan's corner? Besides, why didn't Yu Qing's father come out to speak? Ning Cheng's tone turned even colder. Since something happened to Yu Qing, he could not ignore Yu Qing's master and mother. Cici sighed again. Sister Qing's father is called Yu Yuechen. Sister Qing's mother, Shin Mengyan, and Baoinga both fell in love with Sister Qing's father. However, Sister Qing's father only chose Aunt Yen. Shortly after Sister Qing's birth, Sister Qing's father left Culmination Starland. After that, he never came back. Aunt Lan and Aunt Yen brought up Sister Qing. Ning Cheng felt even more puzzled. Since Baoinga wasn't chosen by Sister Qing's father, how could she snatch the Essence Qi praying mat in Yu Clan's corner? Cici explained, because Baoinga has an elder sister called Bao Lingling. She is the Dao companion of Yu Clan's elder Yu Xingxian. Yu Xingxian has early-stage life and death cultivation and is one of the most important figures in Yu Clan. Moreover, he controls Yu Clan's cultivation resources and has a high status in Yu Clan's corner. Is this woman's cultivation in the heaven-seated realm? As Ning Cheng spoke, he raised his hand and drew out a void image. When Cici saw the image drawn by Ning Cheng, she spoke up in shock. That's her. Senior apprentice brother Ning, how do you know this woman? Ning Cheng waved the image away and said, because I just came from Yu Clan's corner. Yu Qing asked me to deliver something to Aunt Yen, but I couldn't even enter Yu Clan's corner. When Cici heard Ning Cheng's words, she excitedly grabbed Ning Cheng's hand and spoke. Senior apprentice brother Ning, did you see Sister Qing? Is Sister Qing all right? Ning Cheng's tone turned downcast. I'm sorry, Cici. I also entered the Time Wilderness once and met Yu Qing in the Time Wilderness. She left behind a purple jade and asked me to bring it to her mother. After Cici heard Ning Cheng's words, she put down her hand in a daze. She didn't know how difficult it would be to enter the Time Wilderness again. She only knew that since Sister Qing could enter, then Ning Cheng could also enter. After a while, she murmured, no wonder you can come here. I asked Ai Ku to stay in Yu Clan's corner. I wanted to wait for Aunt Yan's friends to come looking for Aunt Yen and then ask Aunt Yan's friends to help save Aunt Yen. I didn't expect Ai Ku to bring you here. Ning Cheng clenched his fists. Cici, you're right. Now, come with me to save Aunt Yen. Cici looked at Ning Cheng in disbelief. What did you say? Chapter 755. Outside Yu Clan's corner, a female cultivator with a slightly longer face frowned and looked around. At this moment, a sudden voice suddenly sounded, Are you looking for me? It's you? The female cultivator stared at Ning Cheng standing in front of her in shock. She had placed a spiritual consciousness imprint on Ning Cheng before, but when she tried to kill Ning Cheng, the spiritual consciousness imprint suddenly disappeared. Because her spiritual consciousness imprint disappeared, she started looking around the entrance of Yu Clan's corner. Now that she heard Ning Cheng's voice, she suddenly realized that she didn't know that Ning Cheng had appeared in front of her. Not only did she not know that Ning Cheng had appeared in front of her, but she also didn't know that Cici and Ai Ku, who followed behind Ning Cheng, had arrived. How did you end up here? The female cultivator looked at Ning Cheng in even more surprise. Unless his cultivation was much higher than hers, how could he come to this place without her noticing? Also, where did her spiritual consciousness imprint go? She would never believe that Ning Cheng could remove her spiritual consciousness imprint without anyone noticing. As for Cici and Ai Ku, they weren't even ants. You should be Bao Lingling, right? I guess you must have been looking for this. While talking, Ning Cheng raised his hand and grabbed the spiritual consciousness imprint sealed in a low-level talisman before throwing it to Bao Lingling. After Bao Lingling caught the talisman, she felt her spiritual consciousness imprint inside. Someone had truly sealed her spiritual consciousness imprint. At this moment, she felt flustered and didn't dare to scold Ning Cheng for a while. Ning Cheng took a few steps forward, and Bao Lingling subconsciously stepped back. Let me tell you one more thing. My name is Ning Cheng, and I forcibly broke open Yu Clan's corner's defensive array. After Ning Cheng stared at Bao Lingling and spoke those words, he punched the base of Yu Clan's corner's defensive array. Catcha! With just one punch, Ning Cheng directly opened a crack in Yu Clan's corner's defensive array. Ning Cheng was an array emperor who could arrange Starry Sky Grade 9 array formations. Therefore, in the face of Yu Clan's corner's defensive array, which was barely a Starry Sky Grade 8, Ning Cheng didn't need much effort to break it open. Bao Lingling subconsciously shuddered. Ning Cheng's punch made it clear to her that she wasn't Ning Cheng's opponent. Yu Clan's corner's array entrance was clearly open, yet Ning Cheng still wanted to forcibly break open the defensive array. Apparently, he came here to seek revenge. Just by looking at CC behind Ning Cheng, Bao Lingling understood why Ning Cheng came here for revenge. Boom boom boom. Ning Cheng simply did not care about Bao Lingling at the side, and forcibly continued to throw out a few punches. Raging celestial essence accompanied Ning Cheng's fists and slammed into the array base of Yu Clan's corner's defensive array over and over again. As the celestial essence power continued to spread out, the cracking sounds coming from Yu Clan's corner's defensive array grew louder and louder. Kakaka. Ka. As Ning Cheng's last punch fell, celestial essence exploded, and the precious defensive array protecting Yu Clan's corner also exploded. Yu Clan's corner, which was originally hidden in Yu Clan's corner, was clearly revealed at this moment. Stop. Almost at the same time that Ning Cheng blasted open the defensive array around Yu Clan's corner, Bao Lingling reacted and asked Ning Cheng to stop. It was just that she called out too late. In fact, even if she did not call out too late, Ning Cheng would not have stopped. Bao Lingling looked at Ning Cheng in horror. If she tried to break this defensive array, she would not have been able to open it even after a few days and nights. But this cultivator named Ning Cheng in front of her, who had blasted open the defensive array with just a few punches, was simply too terrifying. He definitely was an eternal-level powerhouse. Wait, Ning Cheng, this name sounds a bit familiar. Swish swish. Dozens of shadows rushed out from Yu Clan's corner like lightning. Someone blasted open the defensive array around Yu Clan's corner, which naturally alarmed all the experts present. Which rat dares to behave atrociously in my Yu Clan's corner? Before the people arrived, angry curses had already arrived. Cici, who followed behind Ning Cheng, felt even more stunned. The reason why she dared to follow Ning Cheng here was not because Ning Cheng persuaded her. It was because Ning Cheng said that he had a way to sneak into Yu Clan's corner. He could even hide his body and then find Aunt Yen to rescue her. But what did Ning Cheng's method of breaking open the defensive array have to do with sneaking into Yu Clan's corner? It was simply courting death. What puzzled Cici was how Ning Cheng could blast open the defensive array around Yu Clan's corner with just a few punches. Coming from Yu Clan's corner, she naturally knew about the power of Yu Clan's corner's defensive array. You're the rat. If you anger this grandpa bull will swallow your entire Yu Clan's corner in one bite. Chasing Bull loved this kind of scolding the most. Several cultivators who were about to rush up stopped by a handsome middle-aged male cultivator. This middle-aged male cultivator walked up to Ning Cheng and looked at Ning Cheng from head to toe before speaking with cupped fists. This cultivator is Yu Baihong. My Yu Clan's corner doesn't seem to have anything to do with this Dao friend. So, why did this Dao friend break my Yu Clan's defensive array for no reason? If Ning Cheng hadn't destroyed the defensive array around Yu Clan's corner in just a few moves, he would have already called for people to take action. Why would he wait until now? Ning Cheng could tell at a glance that this handsome middle-aged male cultivator had the highest cultivation here, at the early stage Eternal Realm. Moreover, it seemed that he had advanced not too long ago. Ning Cheng spoke up with a calm voice. I'm a friend of Yu Qing's, and I came here to look for Yu Qing's mother, Shen Mengyan. Yet, Yu Clan's corner doesn't allow me to enter and even spoke rudely to me. I don't feel good about it. Shen Mengyan and Yu Qing, that mother-daughter pair of dogs, don't deserve to be in my Yu Clan's corner. Ning Cheng had just finished when a sharp voice erupted. However, the voice didn't finish his sentence. He stopped abruptly halfway through his sentence. Everyone stared at Ning Cheng's hand in horror. Ning Cheng's hand was currently squeezing the neck of a male cultivator in brocaded robes. The male cultivator's legs kept kicking as if Ning Cheng didn't let go of him. It felt as if he would die if Ning Cheng didn't let go of him. At this moment, the entire scene turned silent. Everyone in Yu Clan knew that the male cultivator in brocaded robes held by Ning Cheng was called Yu Xingxing, a heaven-seated powerhouse of Yu Clan. Not to mention a heaven-seated cultivator, even if someone grabbed the neck of an ordinary cultivator, it wouldn't cause such a suffocating situation. But now, Yu Xingxing, a heaven-seated cultivator, felt like he was suffocating. Yu Baihong felt even more dumbfounded. This young man in front of him could easily blast open the defensive array around Yu Clan's corner. This in itself showed that this young man had amazing cultivation. Because of this, Yu Baihong didn't act immediately. But now that Ning Qing had easily grabbed Yu Xingxing's neck, it showed that Ning Cheng's cultivation was far above what he had guessed. Even he couldn't compare to him. "Dao friend, please stop." Yu Baihong suppressed the shock in his heart and called out. He knew that if Ning Qing didn't let go, Yu Xingxing would die. Ning Qing glanced at Yu Baihong and threw out Yu Xingxing. Yu Baihong immediately felt relieved. But before he could speak, Ning Qing threw out a fireball in his hand the next moment. The moment Yu Xingxing cursed at Yu Qing, he had already become a dead man in Ning Cheng's eyes. The fireball instantly wrapped around Yu Xingxing, who Ning Qing had thrown out, and Yu Xingxing's screams erupted from the flames. A burnt smell spread out, and everyone felt a chill in their hearts. They knew that Yu Xingxing was finished. Someone had burned him in front of all the experts of Yu Clan's corner. The moment Bao Lingling saw Ning Cheng burn Yu Xingxing, she finally remembered Ning Cheng's name. This was Striking Order Starlin's powerhouse, mysterious yellow sex sect Master Ning Cheng. This Ning Cheng was extremely fierce. He didn't even put Chuan Xinlo and the endless void docs in his eyes. So how could he put a puny Yu Clan's corner in his eyes? "I'm going to kill you." A violent voice came from afar, and it seemed as if someone was about to rush over. After Bao Lingling realized Ning Cheng's identity, she immediately panicked. When she saw the person approaching, she quickly rushed over and tried to stop him. "Lingling, let go of me. That beast killed my brother Xingxing." The man's face almost burned with anger. Slap. Bao Lingling slapped the man's face and spoke up in anger. "Yu Xingxian, listen to me. Yu Xingxing deserved to die." "Bao Lingling." Yu Xingxian roared in anger. He was an early-stage life and death expert and had control over the cultivation resources of Yu Clan's corner. Now that his Dao companion, Bao Lingling, slapped him in the face, did he still have any face left? Originally, Bao Lingling and her elder sister Bao Inga both served leveled Heart Emperor Mountain's Ji Lei at the same time, which made him unhappy. But now Bao Lingling even dared to attack him in public, hindering him from avenging his brother. How could he endure it? In anger, he raised his hand and punched Bao Lingling in the chest. Bao Lingling spat out a few mouthfuls of blood and looked at Yu Xingxian in disbelief. She was caught off guard, and Yu Xingxian's cultivation was much higher than hers. Yu Xingxian's punch had shattered her dantian and meridians, causing her to lose all her cultivation. For Yu Xingxian, she could even serve other men, yet in the end, she ended up ruined by Yu Xingxian's hands. Ning Qing didn't care about Bao Lingling and Yu Xingxian at all and took another step forward. Yu Baihong threw Bao Lingling aside and stared at Ning Cheng. As soon as Ning Qing moved, he immediately moved. However, Ning Cheng's powerful celestial river domain crushed out and directly sealed his domain. Not waiting for him to make any adjustments, Ning Qing had already flashed past him. Yu Xingxian didn't even have time to resist before he found it difficult to breathe. The powerful domain's imposing aura made him feel like he was about to die. Bang! Ning Cheng casually walked over and kicked Yu Xingxian in the chest. Yu Xingxian didn't even have the ability to resist. He opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of internal organs. The next moment, his body turned into a leaky sieve, and endless celestial essence leaked out crazily. His cultivation, like Bao Lingling, also turned into nothingness. After a few breaths, Yu Xingxian looked at Ning Qing in horror. His dantian had shattered, and his cultivation had been crippled by a single kick. The experts from Yu Clan, who had rushed out, all remained silent and looked at Ning Qing in horror. At this moment, no one came forward. Ning Cheng's strength made them realize that even if they went up, they would only end up dead in seconds. Yu Baihong felt even more terrified. This young cultivator not only shattered Yu Clan's corner's defensive array with a few punches, but he also killed a middle-stage heaven-seated expert and an early-stage life and death expert in front of him. If he had died in a fight, it would have given him some confidence. But this fellow had only taken a few steps and stretched out his hand. How did Yu Clan's corner end up with such a strong enemy? Chapter 756. Facing an unknown and powerful cultivator like Ning Cheng, even if he killed 2 experts from Yu Clan's corner, Yu Baihong didn't dare to fight at will. Just when Yu Baihong was in a dilemma, a brilliance quickly approached and landed in front of Yu Clan's corner in just a few breaths. It was an airship-type weapon, and after the weapon landed, someone put it away. Then, 3 people walked over. The one walking in front was a middle-aged Confucian scholar with a long beard that reached his chest and a trace of scholarly aura. Ning Cheng recognized this person, Sect Master Qing Xingwen of Spiritual Heaven Sect. He had gone to Jiangzhou stars-covered Snow City with Chuan Xinluo. Chen Xingwen's cultivation was already at the late-stage Eternal Realm, which made even Ning Cheng feel some fear. Ning Cheng also recognized the male cultivator behind Chen Xingwen. His name was Xiao Yu, a genius through and through. When Ning Cheng saw him this time, he had already reached the full circle of Heaven's Mandate Realm. From this, Ning Cheng understood that he would be able to break through to the Heaven-seated realm in just a short time. With Spiritual Heaven Sect's wealth, Xiao Yu naturally didn't need to look for cultivation resources like Ning Cheng did to break through to the Heaven-seated realm. Ning Cheng also felt some admiration in his heart. If he didn't have the mysterious yellow bead, not to mention surpassing Xiao Yu, he probably wouldn't even be able to see his back. The other female cultivator standing behind Chen Xingwen was also in Heaven's Mandate Realm. Wearing a light red dress, with long hair draped over her shoulders, she exuded a hint of ethereal arrogance. Ning Cheng felt sure that this female cultivator's qualifications weren't any lower than Xiao Yu's. Therefore, she exuded an ethereal aura of an immortal. At the same time, she also exuded an air of arrogance. It felt as if apart from her and Qin Xingwen, everyone else around her was just air. Ning Cheng's gaze swept over the female cultivator's face and couldn't help but praise her in his heart. This female cultivator indeed had the capital to be arrogant. Her crescent moon-like eyebrows combined with her delicate face made her look very pleasing to the eye. If it weren't for the fact that her face didn't show any fluctuations and even had a hint of arrogance, it would have attracted even more attention. So it's Sect Master Ning. Since Sect Master Ning has come to Culmination Starland, you must come visit my Spiritual Heaven Sect. Qin Xingwen had just landed when an enthusiastic voice arrived. Ning Cheng cupped his fists. Sect Master Qin, nice to meet you. As for going to the Ling Shao sect, he had never thought about it. He and Qin Xingwen were not familiar with each other to that extent. On the surface, Qin Xingwen had gone to congratulate the mysterious yellow sect on the opening ceremony, but in fact, he didn't even send any gifts. It simply showed that he didn't have any good intentions. It's just that Song Tsai had joined the mysterious yellow sect, while striking order and Wu Hong helped Ning Cheng. As such, Chuan Xinluo couldn't do anything. Yu Baihong quickly stepped forward and saluted Qin Xingwen. Sect Master Chen has graced us with your presence. My Yu clan's corner was unable to welcome you from afar. It was truly impolite of us. Qin Xingwen chuckled. Brother Yu is too polite. When Yu Baihong heard that Qin Xingwen had only spoken half a sentence, he immediately felt a bad premonition in his heart. He had a hunch that Qin Xingwen came here to seek help from Yu clan's corner. Now that this person didn't even ask for help, it meant that it was all because of this Sect Master Ning. Qin Xingwen felt afraid that this Sect Master Ning had a deep enmity with Yu clan's corner. Therefore, he didn't want to have anything to do with Yu clan's corner. Yu Baihong quickly came to this conclusion. After all, the defensive array here had been destroyed, and Yu Xingxian's cultivation base had been crippled. Yu Baihong quickly spoke up. Sect Master Chen, Sect Master Ning, please take a seat inside. At the same time, he sent a sound transmission to Qin Xingwen. Sect Master Chen, I don't know this Sect Master Ning at all. Yet, he came to my Yu clan's corner and started a massacre. May I ask Sect Master Qin, what is his origin? Qin Xingwen looked at Yu Baihong in surprise. He had thought that Ning Cheng and Yu clan's corner would definitely know each other. Unexpectedly, Yu Baihong didn't know about Ning Cheng's origin. Qin Xingwen smiled and said, by the way, let me introduce you. This is Mysterious Yellow Sect's Sect Master Ning Cheng. Sect Master Ning, since Brother Yu invited you, why don't you come in and sit down? Although Yu Baihong had been in seclusion, it didn't mean that he didn't care about anything. Ning Cheng had destroyed named Descendant Celestial River's Celestial River King, taken away named Descendant Celestial River, and renamed it Mysterious Yellow Celestial River. At the same time, he established the Mysterious Yellow sect in Mysterious Yellow Celestial River's Jiangzhou Star and declared that the Mysterious Yellow sect was independent from Grand Culmination Starry Sky. How could he not know about such a thing? Now that Yu Baihong heard that the young sect master in front of him was Ning Cheng, it immediately felt as if a pot of ice water had been poured over his heart. Ning Cheng didn't even put Chuan Xinluo and Endless Void Doc Master Gua Sangon in his eyes. What was his Yu clan's corner worth? In other words, if this person raised his hand and destroyed Yu clan's corner, he, Yu Baihong, could only watch helplessly. Who would dare to separate a celestial river from the grand starry sky? He had only heard of Ning Cheng, right? Even if he knew that Chuan Xinluo wouldn't let go of Ning Cheng, wasn't Ning Cheng still alive and well? However, he heard that Chuan Xinluo had gone to the ancient Shadow Temple and hadn't come out yet. By the way, wasn't the ancient Shadow Temple located in stately River Star? That place was also Ning Cheng's territory, could it be? Yu Baihong didn't dare to think about it. He knew that even if he and Qin Xingwen had a close relationship, Qin Xingwen wouldn't move the stone and smash it on spiritual heaven sect's foot. In other words, Qin Xingwen would never help his Yu clan's corner. Even Qin Xingwen didn't want to offend this person. As long as his Yu clan's corner wasn't stupid, they would never offend him. Yu Baihong quickly lowered his posture and respectfully cupped his fists towards Ning Cheng. Sect Master Ning, please come in. I was in seclusion before this. The servants of Yu clan's corner had eyes but failed to see. I, Yu Baihong, would like to apologize to Brother Ning here. Almost all of the Yu clan's cultivators who rushed out, as long as they were above heaven-seated realm, had heard of Ning Cheng's name. But now that they heard that Ning Cheng, the death god who directly snatched away a celestial river, had come to Yu clan's corner, how could they dare to speak any nonsense? Yu Baihong's attitude didn't change anything. Yu Xingxian, who had his cultivation abolished, turned even paler, and his heart felt like it had died. He knew that he would never be able to take revenge in this life. Cici's cultivation was too low, so she naturally didn't know about Ning Cheng's prestige. However, she knew about Yu Baihong and Qin Xingwen, especially Qin Xingwen of Spiritual Heaven Sect, a legendary powerhouse. Yet he still treated Ning Cheng with such politeness. How could Ning Cheng's strength reach such a level? Sister Qing truly had a good eye, but Sister Qing, alas, Cici's thoughts quickly turned to Aunt Yen, and she quickly stepped forward and said, Senior Apprentice Brother Ning, let's hurry and save Aunt Yen. Ning Cheng patted Cici's shoulder and was about to speak when Yu Baihong took the initiative to speak. Is Sect Master Ning a friend of Qing? Ning Cheng didn't bother to build a relationship with Yu Baihong and spoke without any warmth. Where is Shen Mengyan? Take me to her now. Yu Baihong didn't dare to attack Ning Cheng. Instead, he turned around and stared at Yu Xingxian with cold eyes. He then spoke with an icy tone. Where did Junior Apprentice Sister Mengyan go? Yu Xingxian had long since lost the will to live, and his eyes were blank. He didn't answer Yu Baihong's words at all. Bao Lingling, who had fallen to the ground, struggled to get up and pointed at Yu Xingxian with a stern voice. It's him. He used us sisters to please other men. He also used us sisters to snatch Shen Mengyan's essence chi praying mat and imprison Shen Mengyan in Yu clan's water prison. If not for a purple jade, he would have already killed Shen Mengyan. After Bao Lingling finished speaking, she raised her hand and slapped it on her glabella. Her cultivation had been crippled, but she could still shatter her primordial spirit to commit suicide. Ning Cheng reached out and grabbed Yu Xingxian's ring. Using his spiritual consciousness, he easily broke the restrictions on Yu Xingxian's ring. Inside the ring were piles of spiritual grasses and materials, as well as piles of perpetual moon pills, which made Ning Cheng marvel at Yu Xingxian's wealth. Ning Cheng quickly found a praying mat inside the ring. This praying mat looked exactly the same as the praying mat he obtained in the Time Wilderness. This surprised Ning Cheng a lot. He decided to study it when he had the time to find out what was going on. Seeing Ning Cheng grab the ring, Yu Baihong didn't wait for Ning Cheng to start again. He raised his hand and a cluster of flames fell on Yu Xingxian's body. Yu Xingxian and Yu Xingxing were two brothers, one in the heaven-seated realm and the other in the life and death realm. Both of them were of great help to Yu Clan's corner. Therefore, he treated Yu Xingxian and Yu Xingxing very generously and valued them a lot. Yu Qing had fallen, and Yu Qing's master, Li Lan, had also fallen. But even he didn't expect that Yu Xingxian would dare to throw Shen Mengyan into the water prison. Yu Xingxian could only watch as the flames swallowed him up. He couldn't even scream. He had thought that with his control over the cultivation resources of Yu Clan's corner and the essence chi praying mat, he would one day advance to the eternal realm. What he didn't expect was that someone would come knocking on his door when he was only at the early stage life and death realm. Moreover, Yu Baihong had killed him with his own hands under someone else's powerful suppression. Ning Cheng took away Yu Xingxian's ring, but Yu Baihong acted as if he didn't see it. After a cluster of flames extinguished Yu Xingxian, Yu Baihong spoke up politely to Ning Cheng. Sect Master Ning, my Yu Clan's corner gate is unfortunate to have such a scandal happen. I didn't even know about it while I was in seclusion. I feel really guilty. Ning Cheng snorted. Yu Baihong, it's useless to talk about this. Hurry up and take me to the water prison. Of course, Brother Ning, please. Yu Baihong quickly spoke up. At the same time, he turned to Qin Xingwen and said, Sect Master Qin, please come with us. Qin Xingwen knew that Yu Baihong felt afraid. He feared that Ning Cheng would suddenly attack his Yu Clan's corner in anger. Therefore, he invited him to go with him to make Ning Cheng feel a little more afraid. Okay, let's go together. Qin Xingwen nodded. If he wanted to suppress Ning Cheng, then don't even dream about it. Not to mention whether he could suppress Ning Cheng or not, even if he could suppress Ning Cheng, he wouldn't go against Ning Cheng for Yu Clan's corner. As Yu Baihong led the way, Qin Xingwen, who followed behind, suddenly smiled and said to Ning Cheng, Sect Master Ning, these two are my proudest disciples, Xiao Yu and Xiao Chunan. In the future, when they travel through the starry skies, I hope that Sect Master Ning can take care of them. Ning Cheng couldn't understand why Qin Xingwen wanted to introduce these two disciples to him. Although he was younger than Xiao Yu and Xiao Chunan, he still respected strength within the starry skies. But within the starry skies, strength reigned supreme. Compared to Xiao Yu and Xiao Chunan, Ning Cheng was a senior. Hearing his master's introduction, Xiao Yu quickly stepped forward and gave a salute. Spiritual Heaven Sect's Xiao Yu greets Sect Master Ning. He already knew about Ning Cheng's strength. Last time at the Leveled Heart Emperor Mountain, he had already seen Ning Cheng go berserk. Moreover, he also knew that Ning Cheng was the Celestial Scryer Tower's Jiangzhou's wanderer. Therefore, even if he felt 1,000 unwilling in his heart, he didn't dare to be rude in front of Ning Cheng. Compared to Xiao Yu, Xiao Chunan showed a much more indifferent attitude. She just cupped her fists and said a single sentence of greeting Sect Master Ning. Ning Cheng didn't care about Xiao Chuanan's attitude at all. He still cared about Shen Mengyan. Qin Xingwen, on the other hand, felt a little embarrassed. He knew what kind of person his disciple was, and he also knew what kind of person Ning Cheng was. To be honest, he didn't want to offend people like Ning Cheng unless it was a last resort. Chapter 757. Yu Baihong had always felt afraid of Ning Cheng and always thought about how to solve the crisis facing Yu Clan's corner. Therefore, he didn't think much about Qin Xingwen's words. Moreover, he also wanted to please Qin Xingwen, so he casually spoke up, Yes, Xiao Yu and Xiao Chunan are not only the most talented disciples of the Spiritual Heaven Sect, but even among the 4 grand starry skies, they rank among the top. It's a pity that Yu Qing doesn't have this fortune. Otherwise Yu Qing... You're wrong. Ning Cheng interrupted Yu Baihong's words without hesitation. Yu Qing already had someone she liked when she was alive. Don't impose your will on others. Hearing Ning Cheng's unhappy tone, Yu Baihong felt a chill run down his spine and instantly reacted. Since this sect master Ning came here because of Yu Qing, it meant that he had a close relationship with Yu Qing. In order to curry favor with Qin Xingwen, he had not thought of this point. Thinking of this, he almost slapped himself in the face. He really touched a sore spot. Obviously, he didn't want to anger this sect master Ning, but the moment his words came out, it made people unhappy. Xiao Yu secretly clenched his fists and lowered his head, not saying a word. Xiao Chunan looked at Xiao Yu strangely. She knew the person in Xiao Yu's heart the best, and that was Yu Qing. For the sake of Yu Qing, he was even willing to suppress his cultivation. He abolished his celestial bridge cultivation and retreated to the celestial gatherer realm. Although he also had the idea of entering the immortal Jade Star, it was not necessarily because of Yu Qing. Because Yu Qing had said that the person she liked was naturally the first in the Celestial Scryer Tower, Xiao Yu wanted to climb higher in the Celestial Scryer Tower. However, what Xiao Yu did not expect was that even if he suppressed his cultivation to the Celestial Gatherer realm, he still could not take the first place in the Celestial Scryer Tower. This was because a new powerhouse had appeared in the Celestial Scryer Tower, Jiangzhou's Wanderer. This person had rushed to the 81st floor of the Celestial Scryer Tower, an unprecedented result. Yu Baihong's words were interrupted by Ning Cheng. He couldn't change the topic for a while, causing the atmosphere to suddenly solidify. Chen Xingwen laughed, breaking the frozen atmosphere. He understood the meaning behind Yu Baihong's words. Although he didn't care about Yu Baihong's fawning over him, he didn't mind helping Yu Baihong out of his predicament. Not to mention, this was the reason why he had brought up 2 disciples. For Sect Master Ning to set foot on the 81st floor of the Celestial Scryer Tower, not only is it unprecedented, but I'm afraid that no one will be able to do it in the future. It had not been many years since Sect Master Ning ascended the Celestial Scryer Tower, yet he had already become a Sect Master and an eternal-level powerhouse. I, Chen Xingwen, have never admired anyone, but elder brother Ning is the first person that I admire. Chen Xingwen warmly praised Ning Cheng. Chen Xingwen did not have a clear understanding of Ning Cheng's cultivation. Although he said that Ning Cheng did not have a celestial wheel, he did sometimes have a celestial wheel looming behind him. If he said that Ning Cheng had a celestial wheel, then Ning Cheng's celestial wheel was blurry and indistinct. Ning Cheng could make friends with Striking Order, make Starry Sky's premier pill emperor Tsang Tsaiha submit to him, and even make Chuan Xinlo feel some fear, which meant that his cultivation naturally wasn't bad. Therefore, he always thought that Ning Cheng was also an eternal-level powerhouse. Ning Cheng's heart remained calm and even showed a flat expression towards Chen Xingwen's praise. He didn't even bother to speak. He really didn't like Chen Xingwen's hypocrisy. If Chen Xingwen truly admired him, he would not have gone to covered Snow City with Chuan Xinlo to find trouble with him. Xiao Chunan looked at Xiao Yu in shock. After a few breaths, she whispered to Xiao Yu, "Senior apprentice brother Xiao Yu, is this Sect Master Ning Cheng the Jiangzhou's Wanderer, the Wanderer who climbed to the 81st floor of the Celestial Scryer Tower?" She had long admired Jiangzhou's Wanderer and even wanted to have a face-to-face conversation with this Wanderer. She had also been to the Celestial Scryer Tower before and knew how difficult it was to reach the top floor of the Celestial Scryer Tower. Because of this, she kept thinking about this Jiangzhou's Wanderer and wanted to see what kind of person could have such amazing talent. However, her cultivation was too low. Moreover, she didn't like to gossip and had always been in secluded cultivation. Therefore, she had no idea that Ning Cheng was Jiangzhou's Wanderer. Xiao Yu felt an inexplicable sense of awkwardness in his heart. If Ning Cheng were also a Heaven's Mandate powerhouse, he might have challenged Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng was an eternal powerhouse. He didn't even have the qualifications to talk to him, or rather, he didn't even have the qualifications to feel jealous. Now that Xiao Chunan asked, he could only nod and say, "Yes, he is Jiangzhou's Wanderer." Xiao Chunan's eyes lit up and stared at Ning Cheng for the first time. Not only did he climb to the 81st floor of the Celestial Scryer Tower, but he also became an eternal powerhouse in just a few years. No one in the entire Culmination Grand Starry Sky had ever heard of such a genius. Chen Xingwen didn't seem to care about Ning Cheng's indifference and still spoke with a smile. Sect Master Ning still doesn't have a Dao companion. Although Chuanan's cultivation is a bit weak, she is almost at the heaven-seated realm. Chen Xingwen's words had not yet been spoken, but everyone understood what Chen Xingwen meant. That is, Chen Xingwen wanted to bring Xiao Chunan and Ning Cheng together and make Xiao Chunan Ning Cheng's Dao companion. Yu Baihong secretly cursed in his heart. Since Ning Cheng came here for Yu Qing, it meant that he had a close relationship with Yu Qing. Maybe Yu Qing was Ning Cheng's Dao companion. Yu Baihong didn't think of finding a woman from Yu clan to replace Yu Qing. Instead, he said something that made Ning Qing unhappy. Xiao Chunan was indeed beautiful and had first-class qualifications. However, Yu clan's women also weren't bad. Yu clan's men had always been handsome, and their women had always been beautiful. It was a well-known fact throughout Culmination Starland. Unfortunately, Qin Xingwen had spoken a step ahead of him. At this time, he naturally couldn't say the same words as Qin Xingwen. Xiao Chunan froze. She didn't expect Sect Master Ning to suddenly introduce her to a Dao companion. If she hadn't known that Ning Cheng was Jiangzhou's wanderer, she would have refused without hesitation. Even if Sect Master Ning proposed it, she would have found an excuse to refuse it. But now, she couldn't figure out whether to refuse it or to get in touch with Sect Master Ning. The name of Jiangzhou's wanderer had lingered in her mind for many years. But now, not only did he appear in front of her, but Sect Master Ning even proposed a marriage for her. This huge impact made it impossible for her to make a decision in such a short time. Ning Cheng spoke up calmly, "Many thanks for Sect Master Chen's concern, but I already have a wife. We've arrived at the water prison." After Ning Cheng finished speaking, Yu Baihong quickly spoke up. After saying this, he immediately called out, "Hurry up and open the water prison for me." Yu Baihong felt angry in his heart. No one had come here in advance to release Shen Mengyan and take good care of her. He thought that he didn't need to say anything at all. After Yu clan saw his attitude towards Ning Cheng, they would naturally send someone to release Shen Mengyan in advance. But in fact, not only did no one come out in advance, but the water prison's door didn't even open. Yu clan's experts usually stayed in secluded cultivation. Plus, Ning Cheng's imposing aura suppressed them. Moreover, Yu Xingxing was in charge of places like the water prison. Now that Ning Qing killed Yu Xingxing, Yu clan's people couldn't adapt to it for a while. No need. Ning Qing gave a cold snort and punched out. The water prison's restrictions were much weaker than the ones outside. With just one punch, Ning Qing completely shattered the water prison's restrictions. Yu Baihong's expression turned a little ugly. Ning Qing didn't even give him half a face. However, he thought that Ning Qing could even destroy Yu clan's corner's defensive array. Why would he care about a water prison? He could only hide the ugly expression on his face. Ning Qing stepped into the water prison. Yu clan's water prison didn't hold many people, and Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness blades didn't show any mercy in this place. The spiritual consciousness restrictions in the water prison made a series of cracking sounds as Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness blades smashed them into a mess. The Yu clan's cultivators in Yu clan's corner all had angry expressions on their faces. But even Yu Baihong didn't dare to speak. No matter how angry they felt, they didn't dare to stand up and point out Ning Cheng's wrongdoings. Chen Xingwen's expression remained calm, not showing the slightest bit of embarrassment from Ning Cheng's rejection. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness went all the way, and after just a few breaths, his expression changed. Then, with a flash, he disappeared from the water prison's entrance. In the deepest part of the water prison, a white-haired woman was chained to a brown pillar. The water prison exuded an unpleasant smell that made people want to vomit. This woman's knees were submerged in water, and one could even see her white bones from afar. The woman's head drooped, and her white hair covered her face. But Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness instantly recognized that this person must be Shen Mengyan. She looked almost 90% similar to Yu Qing. At this time, apart from the white bones submerged in water, Shen Mengyan's body was also covered in blood. Her clothes looked just like a rag hanging on her dark skin. Yu Baihong and Qin Xingwen, who followed behind Ning Cheng, also saw this scene. Yu Baihong's expression changed drastically. He didn't expect Yu Xingxian to be so bold as to imprison Shen Mengyan in the water prison. If he knew about this, even if Ning Qing didn't come, he would never have allowed Yu Xingxian to torture Shen Mengyan like this. No matter what, Shen Mengyan was also a member of Yu clan's corner. Ning Cheng rushed to the top of the water prison and raised his hand, sending out several flame blades. The celestial river flame had already evolved to a grade 5 starry sky flame, and it easily cut through the chains binding Shen Mengyan. Ning Cheng held Shen Mengyan in his arms, took out a piece of clothing and put it on Shen Mengyan's body. At the same time, he punched out. Boom! The brown pillar locking Shin Mengyan directly turned to dust under Ning Cheng's punch. But Ning Cheng didn't stop there. Instead, he kept punching out. The entire water prison looked as if someone had dug out its foundation, and the rumbling sounds continued without end. CC and AI Ku were directly thrown out by Ning Cheng, and even the few prisoners in the water prison were also thrown out by Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng's meaning was too obvious. Chen Xingwen shook his head and rushed out of the water prison with his 2 disciples. Yu Baihong looked as if he had aged a few decades and had no choice but to withdraw from the water prison. He understood Ning Cheng's meaning. He wanted to move forward and destroy this place. As everyone withdrew, Ning Cheng blasted this water prison, which had existed for God knows how many years, into ruins. Sect Master Ning, this matter is the misfortune of my Yu clan. I didn't expect Yu Xingxian and Yu Xingxing to be so bold. Yu Baihong came to Ning Cheng and spoke with cupped fists. Ning Cheng glanced at Yu Baihong with cold eyes and spoke with an indifferent tone. Do you think your Yu clan's corner can still exist? You think too highly of yourself. Yu Baihong shuddered, and a deep chill rose from the bottom of his heart. Chapter 758. How many generations of Yu family had spent so much effort to establish Yu clan's corner? Ning Cheng's words clearly indicated that he wanted to completely destroy the Yu clan's corner established by Yu clan, just like the water prison. Without Yu clan's corner, Yu clan's strength would drop by half. Even if Ning Cheng didn't kill a single person from Yu clan wouldn't have the qualifications to remain in Culmination Starland. If the Yu clan left Culmination Starland, it would be nothing. Relying on him, an eternal cultivator? What a joke. He wasn't qualified to learn from Ning Cheng and snatch any planet. The Yu family would immediately collapse and disappear into the boundless starry sky. Aunt Yen. Seeing Shin Mengyan's miserable appearance, Cici rushed over and hugged Shin Mengyan. Shin Mengyan was not only Yu Qing's mother but also Cici's mother. Iku was also constantly wiping away his tears. Yu Baihong knew that it was too late to say anything at this time. It was useless. He took out a jade bottle and said, Sect Master Ning, this is a Golden Crow Clear Void pill. Let's quickly wake Mengyan up. The Golden Crow Clear Void pill was a Starry Sky Grade 7 healing medicinal pill. Even for eternal level powerhouses, it was a top-grade healing medicinal pill. After all, there were very few alchemy emperors in the universe who could refine Tier 7 pills. It wasn't easy for Yu Baihong to take out the Golden Crow Purging Void pill. Chen Xingwen suddenly spoke up from the side. Sect Master Ning himself is a Starry Sky Grade 8 Pill Emperor. Moreover, Mysterious Yellow Sect's Deputy Sect Master Tsongxia is a Starry Sky Grade 9 Pill Emperor. Brother Yu, please take back the medicinal pill. Sect Master Ning should have a better medicinal pill. Ning Cheng naturally would not accept a trivial Golden Crow Clear Void pill. He looked at Yu Baihong and spoke with a calm voice. I'm going to heal Aunt Yen now. As for the fate of Yu clan's corner, Aunt Yen will see it with her own eyes. After that, Ning Cheng said to Cici, Cici, come in with me. Seeing Ning Cheng bring out an immortal abode-type artifact and then go in, Yu Baihong felt relieved in his heart. As long as Shin Mengyan woke up, she would definitely ask Ning Cheng to spare Yu clan's corner for the sake of their old relationship. What he feared the most was that Ning Cheng would take action now. That way, Shin Mengyan wouldn't even have the chance to plead for mercy. Chen Xingwen on seeing Ning Cheng go in sent a sound transmission to Xiao Chunan. Chunan, this sect Master Ning is a rogue cultivator. But for him to cultivate to this point, it shows that he is extraordinary. I wanted to find you someone to rely on, so I didn't tell you in advance. You won't blame me, right? Xiao Chunan hurriedly sent a voice transmission. This disciple doesn't dare. This disciple believes that I can also advance to the eternal realm in the future. I don't need to rely on anyone, so I don't need to care about others. Qin Xingwen sighed in his heart. If Ning Cheng were just an eternal level cultivator, he wouldn't have fancied him so much. In fact, Ning Cheng wasn't just an eternal cultivator, but an eternal cultivator that even Chuan Xinlo feared. Chuan Xinlo felt fear, and he naturally felt the same. One had to know that he was a late-stage eternal powerhouse. In grand culmination starry sky, even Chuan Xinlo had to give him some face. Ning Cheng brought Cici into the cave and placed Shen Mengyan flat on the bed. He then took out several medicinal pills and put them into Shen Mengyan's mouth. Cici's eyes turned red and asked with some worry, "Senior apprentice brother Ning, Aunt Yen looks like she has some serious injuries." Ning Cheng comforted her, "Cici, you don't have to worry. I happen to have something to help Aunt Yen recover from her injuries. Aunt Yen will be fine." Shen Mengyan's essence spirit and celestial essence had both been sealed up. Moreover, under the effects of the toxin that poisoned one's essence spirit, her essence spirit had already started to dissipate, and her corporeal body was on the verge of collapse. Ordinary cultivators would find it difficult to detoxify this kind of poison that could harm one's essence spirit and soul. However, Ning Cheng had the rootless green bamboo's bamboo leaves, glimmer of dawn ice essence, and a large number of starry sky grade 7 and grade 8 healing medicinal pills. As such, it wouldn't be difficult for Shen Mengyan to recover. The medicinal pills Ning Cheng fed Shen Mengyan's mouth quickly played a role, and layers of filth started to ooze out of Shen Mengyan's body. Shen Mengyan's dark skin also gradually recovered. Even Cici, who stood on the side, could feel Shen Mengyan's aura growing stronger. After Shen Mengyan's aura returned to normal, Ning Cheng took out a rootless green bamboo leaf and a drop of glimmer of dawn ice essence and put them into Shen Mengyan's mouth. Then, he said to Cici, "Cici, take Aunt Yen into the room inside. When Aunt Yen wakes up, help Aunt Yen clean up and change into a new set of clothes." Shen Mengyan's injuries were too severe, and her essence spirit was unstable. Even if Ning Cheng used so many good things, it wouldn't be possible to restore her full strength at once. Unless he helped Shen Mengyan expel the poison from her essence spirit and then used his origin to help Shen Mengyan stabilize her condition. If Shen Mengyan weren't Yu Qing's mother, Ning Cheng might have done this. Although he and Yu Qing didn't have any relationship, Ning Cheng had already regarded Shen Mengyan as an elder in his heart. If he helped Shen Mengyan expel the poison and then used his origin to nourish her, it would be equivalent to looking at Shen Mengyan's entire body. It wouldn't be appropriate. The first person Shen Mengyan saw when she opened her eyes was Cici. She even thought that she was still in the water prison and asked in surprise, "Cici, why are you here?" Shen Mengyan quickly understood that this wasn't a water prison, but a room. She didn't have any clothes on her at all, and her entire body was covered in layers of dirt. Cici was currently helping her clean it up. "Aunt Yen, you woke up?" Cici called out in surprise. Ning Cheng had actually helped Aunt Yen wake up. "This isn't a water prison, my legs." Shen Mengyan knew that the vicious essence spirit poison had corroded her legs. Moreover, this kind of poison, which could corrode one's essence spirit, made it extremely difficult to recover after corroding one's flesh. Even an eternal cultivator wouldn't be able to regrow a severed limb in a short time without top-grade treasures. "Cici, did you save me?" Shen Mengyan finally understood. Cici wiped her red and swollen eyes. "Aunt Yen, I didn't save you. I'm useless and my cultivation is too low. It's senior apprentice brother Ning Cheng. Senior apprentice brother Ning saved you." "Who's Ning Cheng?" Shen Mengyan quickly asked. "Senior apprentice brother Ning Cheng, it's that wanderer." Cici replied. Shen Mengyan grabbed Cici's hand and spoke with an anxious tone. "You mean the wanderer that Qing went to look for? Didn't he not come out of the time wilderness? What the hell is going on?" After learning that her daughter had gone to look for an ordinary cultivator named Wanderer and died, Shen Mengyan didn't have a good impression of this wanderer. If it weren't for him, her daughter wouldn't have met with such an accident. Cici didn't dare to hide anything. She hurriedly told him the whole story. After Shen Mengyan heard it, she let go of Cici's hand. She suddenly understood why Qing couldn't forget this wanderer. 2 hours later, Shen Mengyan and Cici came out from inside. Ning Cheng froze for a moment when he saw Shen Mengyan. After restoring her appearance, Shen Mengyan looked even more similar to Yu Qing. Not only was her skin snow white, but even her hair had turned black. With the help of Ning Cheng's medicinal pills and top-grade spiritual objects, Cici, who stood next to her, looked a few years older than Shen Mengyan. If Shen Mengyan stood next to Yu Qing today, she wouldn't be able to tell who was the elder sister and who was the younger sister, let alone distinguish the mother-daughter relationship. Thinking about Yu Qing dying for him, Ning Cheng felt a trace of guilt when he saw Shen Mengyan. "You're Ning Cheng? To his friend?" Shen Mengyan looked at Ning Cheng standing in front of her in surprise. Because Ning Cheng looked too young, so young that she couldn't believe it. Although Shen Mengyan only had a celestial novice cultivation, she was still a heaven-seated cultivator. Although she was still a celestial novice cultivator, she had yet to fully recover her strength. Once the toxins in her body were completely removed, her strength would return to the heaven-seated realm. "Yes, I'm Ning Cheng. Greetings, Aunt Yen." Ning Cheng gave a respectful salute. Shen Mengyan stepped forward and took Ning Cheng's hand. "You're the person Qing likes. Don't be so formal with me. If you hadn't come to save me this time, I'm afraid I would have already fallen." After a pause, Shen Mengyan continued, "When I heard that Qing died in the time wilderness because of you, I didn't like you. But after seeing you, I understood why Qing likes you. You're a good person." She didn't think that Ning Cheng was a good person because he saved her life, but because she felt that Ning Cheng was a good person. This feeling couldn't be expressed in words, it was just a kind of intuition. Ning Cheng quickly took out the purple moon-shaped jade talisman and handed it to Shen Mengyan. "Aunt Yen, this is what Qing left behind." Ning Cheng unconsciously followed Shen Mengyan's way of addressing Yu Qing as Qing. He didn't even realize it. Shen Mengyan took the jade talisman that Ning Cheng handed to her with trembling hands. She looked at the words left behind by Qing on the purple moon-shaped jade talisman and finally couldn't help but cry out. After that man left, she and Qing had to depend on each other. This purple moon-shaped jade talisman was something she left for her daughter. It was a treasure that surpassed Tao artifacts and could even nourish one's sea of consciousness. Not only could it help one's spiritual consciousness grow, but even if one's sea of consciousness suffered an injury, this purple moon-shaped jade talisman could slowly heal it. Now that this purple jade talisman had returned to her hands, her daughter Qing was no longer around. Aunt Yen, Qing also left behind a dress. "I want to keep this dress." Ning Cheng bowed again. Shen Mengyan put the purple jade talisman in Ning Cheng's hand. "You can keep it. This is something I left for Qing. Since Qing is no longer around, and you're the one she likes, I'll leave it with you. Take good care of Qing's things. Remember to visit her on the anniversary of her death every year. I didn't die this time and figured out a lot of things. I think it's time for me to leave and go to the place I should go." Ning Cheng quickly spoke up. "Aunt Yen, your cultivation hasn't recovered yet. How can you leave?" Cece also spoke up from the side. "That's right, Aunt Yen. You only have a celestial novice cultivation. You can't leave." Shen Mengyan didn't seem to hear Ning Cheng and Cece's persuasion at all. She suddenly remembered something and immediately asked, "Ning Cheng, how did you save me? I was imprisoned in Yu Clan's Corner's water prison." Before, Shen Mengyan felt sad for her daughter and didn't think about it. But now that she was about to leave, she suddenly thought about it. How could Ning Cheng save her? Moreover, how could her injuries recover so quickly? She knew very well what kind of poison it was. It was the soul-burning declivity flower, a poison that could cause one's essence spirit to collapse and one's cultivation to decay. Chapter 759. Senior apprentice brother Ning killed Yu Xingxian and Yu Xingxing and broke the water prison. Yu Baihong is still waiting outside for senior apprentice brother Ning to deal with him. Senior apprentice brother Ning said that he would make Yu Clan's corner disappear. Ning Cheng hadn't finished when Cece replied. Hearing Cece's words, Shen Mengyan stared at Ning Cheng with wide eyes. Wasn't this too outrageous? Since Ning Cheng could enter the time wilderness and become acquainted with Qing, then the highest cultivation he had would most likely be at the celestial gatherer realm. How many years had it been? Would Ning Cheng let Yu Baihong wait for his punishment? And they want to make Yu Clan Corner disappear? Yu Baihong was currently the strongest person in Yu Clan's corner and the second eternal realm expert of Yu Clan. Seeing Shen Mengyan staring at him in shock, Ning Cheng spoke up. I did destroy Yu Clan's corner's water prison. In fact, before I came in, I already warned Yu Baihong to destroy Yu Clan's corner. Yu Baihong doesn't seem to take my words to heart. It seems that he still hasn't ordered his men to withdraw from Yu Clan's corner. Shen Mengyan didn't continue to consider whether Ning Cheng's words were true or not and quickly walked out. After Shen Mengyan walked out of the temporary cave, the first person she saw was Yu Baihong. Almost all the cultivators in Yu Clan above the heaven-seated realm stood behind Yu Baihong. Yu Xingxian and Yu Xingxing were really not there. Not only were the Yu Xingxian brothers not there, but the Bao sisters were also not there. Junior apprentice Sister Mengyan, I, Yu Baihong, am guilty of letting such a thing happen in Yu Clan's corner. I, Yu Baihong, am willing to accept any punishment from Junior apprentice Sister Mengyan. What Shen Mengyan didn't expect was that after Yu Baihong saw her, he didn't hesitate to bow and apologize. Whether in terms of cultivation or identity, Yu Baihong far surpassed her, Shen Mengyan. But now, Yu Baihong, the #1 expert of the Yu family, actually took the initiative to apologize to her. Moreover, he even bowed in apology. This made her understand that Cici wasn't lying. Ning Cheng's cultivation had already reached a terrifying height, a height that even Yu Baihong, who was in the eternal realm, feared. Junior sister Shen, long time no see. Chen Xingwen greeted her with a smile. He looked calm on the surface, but in his heart, he was shocked that Ning City had so many good things. Shen Mengyan was poisoned by the soul-burning deciduous flower, a poisonous mist that could even cause one's essence spirit to collapse. Even he couldn't help Shen Mengyan recover in such a short time. But Ning Cheng actually managed to do it. It showed that Ning Cheng's foundation was much deeper than he had imagined. Your sect, Master Qin? Shen Mengyan didn't expect to see Qin Xingwen here. If it wasn't for Qin Xingwen's disciple, Xiao Yu, taking a fancy to Yu Qing, she wouldn't even have the chance to get to know Qin Xingwen. But now, Qin Xingwen was waiting for her to come out. Shen Mengyan wasn't a fool. She immediately thought of Ning Cheng, most likely because of Ning Cheng. Sure enough, Shen Mengyan had just thought of this when Qin Xingwen took the initiative to speak to Ning Cheng behind her. Sect Master Ning has some good means. You managed to remove 80% of the soul-burning declivity flower's poison in just 2 hours. This Qin truly admires you. If I were to encounter this kind of poison, I would definitely be helpless. In fact, if he really wanted to go all out, then it would not have taken him more than 2 hours to complete this task. In at most an hour, Ning Cheng could remove all the soul-burning deciduous flower poison from Shen Mengyan's body and restore Shen Mengyan's strength. Xiao Yu and Xiao Chunin also came over to say hello to Shen Mengyan. But what puzzled Qin Xingwen was that Xiao Chunin looked different from usual and also a lot more enthusiastic. Sect Master Ning, Yu Clan's corner has been established by Yu Clan through countless generations of painstaking efforts. As for what Yu Xingxian and Yu Xingxing did, the rest of my Yu Clan doesn't know about it. I ask Sect Master Ning to punish the culprit for junior apprentice Sister Mengyan's sake. Yu Baihong, on seeing Shen Mengyan safe and sound, felt a bit relieved. Everyone understood what Yu Baihong meant. He didn't beg for mercy, but his words were tantamount to begging for mercy. If Ning Cheng wanted to punish the culprit, then it was Yu Xingxian and his brother. Since Yu Xingxian and his brother had already been killed, they naturally didn't need to be punished. In other words, Ning Cheng wanted Ning Cheng to let go of Yu Clan's corner. Shen Mengyan felt even more convinced of Cici's words. Ning Cheng truly had the ability to raise Yu Clan's corner to the ground. She suddenly asked, "Where did Baoinga go?" Yu Baihong knew that the only one who could help Yu Clan's corner now was Shen Mengyan. As soon as Shen Mengyan's words came out, he quickly replied, "I checked Baoinga. She should have left with Ji Lei." Ji Lei's name wasn't small. He was an eternal-level expert from Leveled Heart Emperor Mountain. Shen Mengyan naturally knew about him. But when she heard that Baoinga wasn't in Yu Clan's corner but had left with Ji Lei, her eyes flashed with a trace of distant memories. However, she quickly recovered and turned to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng, Yu Clan's corner is where Qing lived and where she grew up. Presumably, she doesn't want Yu Clan's corner to be destroyed. Ning Cheng also guessed Yu Baihong's intentions. Now that Shen Mengyan said so, he naturally wouldn't refuse Shen Mengyan's request. He could only play with the ring in his hand and speak, "Aunt Yen, you can take care of things here." Shen Mengyan had already seen Ning Cheng's actions and felt a little amused in her heart. Ning Cheng was a very temperamental person. If he could be with Qing, she would truly feel relieved. Thinking of Qing, Shen Mengyan felt even more sad. Even if Ning Cheng didn't play with the ring, Yu Baihong wasn't an idiot. He had already taken out a ring and put it in Shen Mengyan's hand with both hands. Junior apprentice Sister Mengyan, Qing, contributed a lot to me advancing to the eternal realm. It's just that I've been in seclusion all these years and didn't know anything about you. I've truly wronged you. Yu Baihong didn't speak nonsense. He had used up most of the time stones brought back by Yu Qing. It was also the only way he could advance to the eternal realm by comprehending the laws of time. This time, Shen Mengyan didn't stand on ceremony and took the ring. But when she saw the things inside the ring, she felt even more shocked. These things were dozens of times richer than the things in her original ring. She knew that Yu Clan was rich, but she didn't expect Yu Baihong to take out so many things. The ring that Yu Baihong took out was naturally different from Yu Xingxian's ring that Ning Cheng obtained. Although Yu Xingxian's ring contained many things, most of them were resources needed by cultivators below the heaven-seated realm. Moreover, Yu Baihong controlled all the cultivation resources needed by cultivators above the heaven-seated realm in Yu Clan's corner. Shen Mengyan's spiritual consciousness swept through the ring before turning to Yu Baihong and speaking. Senior apprentice Sister Li Lan still has an essence qi praying mat. Where is it now? Li Lan was Shen Mengyan's senior apprentice sister, and the cause of her death was this essence qi praying mat. Now that she wanted to leave Yu Clan's corner, she naturally had to take this thing back. Since she wanted to give this thing to senior apprentice Sister Li Lan's descendant, she naturally wouldn't let it go missing. Aunt Yen, the praying mat is here. Ning Cheng quickly took out an ordinary one and handed it to Shen Mengyan. He originally planned to study the difference between this essence qi praying mat and his own essence qi praying mat. But now that Shen Mengyan mentioned it, he quickly took it out. Shen Mengyan took the praying mat and put it into the ring before saying to Ning Cheng and Cici, "Let's go." Seeing that Ning Cheng gave up on destroying Yu Clan's corner, Yu Baihong felt relieved. Now that Shen Mengyan said that they wanted to leave, he quickly spoke up. Junior apprentice Sister Mengyan, Sect Master Ning and Sect Master Chen rarely come here. Why don't you stay in Yu Clan's corner for a while? Although Yu Baihong couldn't wait for Ning Cheng to leave as soon as possible, he also knew that Ning Cheng was a powerhouse with a promising future. Therefore, he wanted to befriend him as much as possible. Didn't Qin Xingwen want to send out his disciple to make friends with Ning Cheng? Ning Cheng didn't want to stay in Yu Clan's corner at all. He was just about to refuse when he heard Qin Xingwen speak up. Sect Master Ning, do you know about the chaos in the devil domain? Seeing Ning Cheng's expression, as if he didn't know about it, Qin Xingwen explained, not only is the devil domain in chaos, but even the demon domain, Grand Spirit Heaven Starry Sky and my culmination Grand Starry Sky are also in chaos. Ning Cheng frowned and said, even if Chuan Xinlo, Yi Jiufeng and the others didn't come out of the ancient Shadow Temple, it shouldn't have been long, right? Chen Xingwen understood the implication of Ning Cheng's words. Even if these iconic figures of the Grand Starry Sky disappeared temporarily, it wouldn't cause any chaos. Chen Xingwen, who wanted to win over Ning Cheng, continued to explain, someone instigated this matter. Otherwise, even if Leveled Heart Heavenly Emperor and the others went into seclusion for 10,000 years, such a thing wouldn't have happened. Nowadays, everyone in the devil domain is in danger, and there are bloody killings everywhere. I'm worried that this kind of thing will spread to my culmination Grand Starry Sky one day. I also came here to invite Brother Yu to Culmination Starland to participate in a Culmination Alliance to discuss what to do in case Leveled Heart Heavenly Emperor's absence, like what happened in the Devil Domain. I originally planned to go to the mysterious Yellow Celestial River to invite Sect Master Ning, but I didn't expect to meet Sect Master Ning here. Chen Xingwen indeed came here to win over Yu Baihong. Yu Baihong was, after all, an eternal cultivator. However, it was a little different from what he said. He originally planned to help Xiao Yu propose a marriage. He chose two people to propose marriage to, one of which was Yu Baihong's granddaughter, Yuzi. Yu Clan's corner already had many beauties. Yuzi might not be as good as Yu Qing, but she was also a famous beauty in Culmination Starland. Letting Xiao Yu and Yu Zi become Dao companions would let Xiao Yu put down his obsession with Yu Qing and draw Yu Clan's corner to his side. The other choice was Shen Mengyan. Shen Mengyan looked 90% similar to Yu Qing. His disciple, Xiao Yu, had a deep obsession with Yu Qing. Only by letting Shen Mengyan marry Xiao Yu could Xiao Yu let go of his obsession with Yu Qing and reach a higher level. Shen Mengyan was Yu Clan's daughter-in-law, but Chen Xingwen believed that Yu Baihong wouldn't refuse. Spiritual Heaven sect was so powerful, yet he came to propose marriage in person. If Yu Baihong refused, it would be tantamount to slapping his face. Yu Baihong, a cultivator who had just advanced to the eternal realm, would never act so stupid. Naturally, to give Yu Baihong a way out, he also brought Xiao Chunen with him. As a last resort, he would let Xiao Chunen marry into Yu Clan to give Yu Baihong some face. Of course, he didn't tell Xiao Chunen about this. Although Xiao Chunen had good qualifications, she still fell short of Xiao Yu. Xiao Yu was the true core disciple he cultivated for Spiritual Heaven sect. For Xiao Yu, Xiao Chunen could naturally be sacrificed. Now that Ning Cheng appeared in Yu Clan's corner, he naturally wouldn't mention the marriage proposal. It would be tantamount to slapping Ning Cheng's face, and he didn't want to become enemies with Ning Cheng. As soon as Qin Xingwen spoke, Ning Cheng understood what was going on. It seems that this sect master of Spiritual Heaven sect didn't want to be left out. Therefore, after hearing the news of Leveled Heart Heavenly Emperor's death, he couldn't help but feel excited. Chapter 760. Ning Cheng was aware of Qin Xingwen's thoughts. As such, he naturally would not wade into these muddy waters. He had some suspicions that Chuan Xinluo had not fallen. If Chuan Xinluo came back and learned that Qin Xingwen coveted his position, it would definitely be a good show to watch. Sect Master Qin, I already said in front of Chuan Xinluo that my mysterious yellow celestial river is independent from the 4 grand starry skies. Therefore, I have no reason to participate in this matter. Of course, I support Sect Master Qin in my heart. Ning Cheng spoke with a smile. Chen Xingwen gave a dry laugh. In that case, I will not force Sect Master Ning. On behalf of Culmination Grand Starry Sky, I thank Sect Master Ning for your support. Ning Cheng sneered in his heart. You, Chen Xingwen, want to represent the Grand Culmination Starry Sky? Stop dreaming. Ning Cheng naturally wouldn't say this out loud. Instead, he smiled and said, I have a good relationship with Striking Order Heavenly Emperor and Heavenly Emperor Wu Hong of Grand Culmination Starry Sky. If anything happens to Culmination in the future, I hope that Sect Master Chen can help me look after them. Chen Xingwen naturally understood the meaning behind Ning Cheng's words. That is, I don't care if you want to take control of Grand Culmination Starry Sky or not. But I want to warn you, don't get involved in Striking Order Starry Sky and Bright Heaven Starry Sky. Even if Striking Order Heavenly Emperor and Heavenly Emperor Wu Hong did not return, don't even think about taking control of these 2 starry skies. Although Qin Xingwen felt angry in his heart, he didn't show it at all. Instead, he still spoke with enthusiasm. Naturally, Sect Master Ning's friends are also this Qin Xingwen's friends. Sect Master Qin, I want to ask you about something. Do you know where I can buy breaking boundary talismans? Ning Cheng asked before leaving. Qin Xingwen was an old monster just like Chuan Xinluo, who had lived for many years. Ning Cheng was very clear that although his cultivation was not bad, when it came to knowledge and experience, the gap between him and this old monster was not just a starry sky. Hearing that Ning Cheng wanted the breaking boundary talisman, Qin Xingwen shook his head. Sect Master Ning, the value of this talisman can't even be measured in permanent essence pills. As far as I can remember, out of the many auctions held in Culmination Starland, only one had appeared. Moreover, it was a barter. World-breaking spell? Does Sect Master Ning need a breaking boundary talisman? Yu Baihong suddenly asked. Ning Cheng nodded. Yes, I do need the breaking boundary talisman. I want to go to the low-level interface, but I don't have enough strength to tear open the void of the low-level interface. Could it be that City Lord Yu has news about the world-breaking talisman? In fact, Ning Cheng himself did not know if he could tear open the void of the planar interface. He had never done such a thing before. He was also afraid that if he tore through an unrelated world, it would be difficult for him to return to this place. This was not what he wanted. He wanted the boundary-breaking talisman because he wanted to return to the graceful star mainland. He had promised the giant who saved his life at the altar of Forefathers' library that he would help him in the future. Since he was going to help, he had to be a good person to the end. At the same time, he would also take the eye that the giant had nailed in the White Robe Ghost Lake and give it to the giant. Although the giant was in such a miserable situation, it still helped him escape from the Heart-Blood Lake. This kind of kindness, even if Ning Qing knew that he would die, he still had to help. If he didn't repay kindness, wouldn't he be worse than a beast? Yu Baihong quickly replied, "My Yu clan's corner once obtained a boundary-breaking talisman, but a cultivator named Duan Gantai bought it." Duan Gantai? When Ning Qing heard this name, he couldn't help but feel disgusted in his heart. Why did this fellow appear everywhere, like a ghost haunting him? Although Yu Baihong didn't explain what was going on, Ning Qing could guess that Duan Gantai had used some coercive means to force Yu clan's corner to sell the talisman. "Many thanks, City Master Yu. Goodbye." Ning Qing finished and cupped his fists towards Qin Xingwen before quickly leaving with Shen Mengyan and the others. After Ning Qing left, Yu Baihong finally breathed out in relief. At least he hadn't completely offended Sect Master Ning. Otherwise, Yu clan's corner would have truly been in danger. Qin Xingwen didn't seem to know that Ning Qing had just arrived and then left. He laughed and said, "Brother Yu, I came here today for another matter. Xiao Yu is also a disciple I'm proud of. Yu clan's Yu Zi has a good appearance, so I thought it would be better for the two families to marry." Qin Xingwen hadn't even finished his words when Yu Baihong knew that something bad had happened. Qin Xingwen wanted to marry his granddaughter Yu Zi to Xiao Yu. If Ning Qing hadn't appeared, he would have felt happy about this marriage. But he had already planned to use Yu Zi to marry Ning Qing instead of Yu Qing and establish a good relationship with Ning Qing. Unexpectedly, he hadn't even implemented his plan when Qin Xingwen brought it up. For a moment, Yu Baihong didn't know how to refuse. As soon as Shen Mengyan boarded Ning Cheng's Starry Sky wheel, she spoke up, "Ning Cheng, although the boundary-breaking talisman can allow you to go to the low-level interface, the low-level interface's laws don't allow powerhouses to enter. Once you go to the low-level interface, it will cause chaos and break the laws. This kind of law-breaking can seriously injure or even kill an eternal expert." I know this. I'll be careful." Regarding this kind of law restriction, even if Shen Mengyan didn't say it, Ning Qing already knew about it. Even if it was a low-level positional plane, the laws of heaven and earth still remained the most powerful. Even an eternal expert wouldn't be able to withstand all kinds of law-breaking attacks. If he wanted to save someone, he would have to reach the late-stage eternal realm to save the giant. Otherwise, he wouldn't be saving someone in advance, but would rather die. Similarly, he would have to wait until he reached the eternal realm before considering going to the graceful star mainland. Ning Qing answered Shen Mengyan's words while opening the sealed connecting spirit silk once again. To his disappointment, after opening the connecting spirit silk, he couldn't find any information about Duan Gantai. This fellow had come to find him when he was trapped under the ancient Shadow Temple. But now that he wanted to find him, he had disappeared. Ning Qing felt sure that Duan Gantai had done something shameful. If he could see it, he wouldn't have sealed the connecting spirit silk. After listening to Ning Cheng's explanation, Cici, Shen Mengyan and Ai Ku learned that Ning Qing owned a celestial river and even established the mysterious Yellow Sect. "Aunt Yen, let's go to Stately River Star now. Stately River Star belongs to senior apprentice brother Ning, so it's better than going somewhere else." When Cici heard that Ning Qing owned a celestial river and was the sect master of the mysterious Yellow Sect, she immediately wanted to go to Stately River Star. Shen Mengyan remained silent for a moment before speaking. "Cici, you and Ai Ku will stay with mysterious Yellow Sect's Ning Qing. After I recover my cultivation, I'll go do my own things. Since Qing'er is gone, I have nothing to worry about now." Cici felt a little reluctant to part with Shen Mengyan. She took Shen Mengyan's hand and sobbed, "Aunt Yen, are you going to find Uncle Qin? But the universe is so vast. Where are you going to find him?" Ning Qing also wanted to persuade them, but the words that came to his mouth did not come out. To be honest, it was all because of Yu Qing that he and Shen Mengyan could be together. Yu Qing was gone, and Shen Mengyan didn't want to stay in stately River Star. What else could he do? Shen Mengyan turned silent again. This time, after a few minutes, she gave out a sigh and said, Ning Cheng, although Qing has left, you're not an outsider in my heart. I do want to find Qing Er's father this time. Qing Er's father is Yu Yuechen, the first expert of Yu Clan's corner to advance to the Eternal Realm. Cici felt surprised when she heard that the first eternal expert of Yu Clan's corner wasn't Yu Baihong. Shen Mingyan's eyes flashed with a trace of loneliness before she continued, I'm the only one who knows that he advanced to the Eternal Realm. However, he didn't stay in Yu Clan's corner and work hard to strengthen Yu Clan's corner. Instead, he went to search for a higher realm. He wanted to confirm his Dao, but within the 4 grand starry skies, opportunities to confirm one's Dao were hard to come by. He said that as long as he found an opportunity to confirm his Dao, he would immediately come back to pick me and Qing up. Ning Cheng felt a little speechless. Aunt Yen, Cici is right. The starry skies are vast, and it would be extremely difficult to find a person. I think Aunt Yen should stay in stately River Star for now. When your cultivation reaches a higher level in the future, you can go to the starry skies to look for him. Not to mention that Shen Mengyan wanted to look for Yu Yuechen throughout the vast starry skies. Even if he knew that Ji Luofei was in striking order starry sky, he wouldn't be able to find her. Shen Mengyan hesitated for a moment before speaking. I know that he might have gone to the 1,000-mound forest of the mysterious Yellow Starland. Isn't the mysterious Yellow Starland senior apprentice Brother Ning's Starland? We can go there. Cici quickly spoke up in surprise when she heard this sentence. Ning Cheng had to explain, my place is called the mysterious Yellow Celestial River, not the mysterious Yellow Starland. Only then did he remember that the name he inadvertently came up with had the same name as the mysterious Yellow Starland. Ning Cheng didn't intend to change the name of the mysterious Yellow Celestial River. Instead, he explained to Shen Mengyan, Aunt Yen, I've been to the 1,000-mound forest once. It's definitely not a good place. I suggest Aunt Yen not to go there. If you must go there, you might as well wait. After I advance to the Eternal Realm, I will go to the 1,000-mound forest. Aunt Yen can come with me then. Shen Mengyan and Cici looked at Ning Cheng in surprise. They realized that Ning Cheng wasn't an eternal cultivator yet. However, Shen Mengyan didn't ask about Ning Cheng's cultivation. Instead, she nodded and agreed with Ning Cheng's words. Okay. When you go to the 1,000-mound forest, call me. I'll stay in stately River Star for the time being. Outside stately River Star's star-protecting Grand Array, there used to be only one ordinary starry sky public square. But now, it had turned into a continuous starry sky public square. Countless rogue cultivators had gathered here. Although they couldn't enter stately River Star, they could still see the public square outside stately River Star. Since stately River Star established its own laws, everyone was equal and there was no bullying or killing for treasures. Therefore, this place had become a popular place. Rogue cultivators lived a precarious life. So, who wouldn't want to come to such a safe and peaceful place to cultivate? What's more, there were rumors that stately River Star's celestial lord Ning Cheng was a starry sky grade 8 pill emperor. Moreover, stately River Star's mysterious yellow sect's deputy sect master Zhangzhao was the starry sky's premier pill emperor. It was said that stately River Star had countless times more opportunities to obtain high-grade medicinal pills compared to other places. In stately River Star, as long as one did business in a fair and honest manner, one could accumulate enough celestial coins to purchase medicinal pills for advancement. Unfortunately, the conditions to enter stately River Star were just too harsh. Not only did it depend on one's character, but it also depended on whether one had any skills or qualifications. Some of the cultivators who had escaped from stately River Star in the early days felt extremely regretful at this time. If they hadn't escaped, they would have become the envious cultivators of stately River Star. As soon as Ning Cheng's starry sky will landed on the starry sky public square outside stately River Star, Bei Junyi rushed over. Since Ning Cheng had given him the entrance to stately River Star, he naturally didn't dare to neglect it. If not for Sect Master Ning, he didn't know how long it would have taken for him to reach the heaven-seated realm. There are so many people here, Cece exclaimed when she saw the crowd on the public square outside stately River Star. Ning Cheng was just about to say hello to Bei Junyi when he suddenly felt something. The connecting spirit silk on his wrist, which hadn't shown any response, suddenly reacted. The next moment, he sensed Duan Gantai's position. Chapter 761. Although he could sense Duan Gantai's position, Ning Cheng still arranged for Shenmeng Yen and the others. He also gave some instructions to Tsang Tsaiha before leaving stately River Star. Stately River Star had Tsang Tsaiha, a late-stage eternal powerhouse, along with several heaven-seated powerhouses. Therefore, there shouldn't be any problems. Ning Cheng sensed Duan Gantai's presence, and Duan Gantai also sensed Ning Cheng's presence. This made Duan Gantai overjoyed. He had just made a lot of money when he received news about Ning Cheng. What could be more delightful than this? Even if there was no news about Ning Cheng, he had already planned to come to stately River Star to find Ning Cheng. He didn't expect that Ning Cheng would appear before he even reached stately River Star. He also knew that since Ning Cheng opened the connecting spirit silk, it meant that Ning Cheng also wanted to find him. Knowing that Ning Cheng wanted to find him, Duan Gantai couldn't wait to come to stately River Star. While Ning Cheng made arrangements for Shenmeng Yen and the others, Duan Gantai appeared on the starry sky public square outside stately River Star's star-protecting grand array. Brother Duan, long time no see. It's a pleasure to meet you. Ning Cheng greeted Duan Gantai on the starry skies public square from afar. He could sense Duan Gantai's position. Even if he came to stately River Star from Duan Gantai's position, he couldn't have arrived this quickly. But what shocked Ning Cheng even more was that Duan Gantai's cultivation wasn't any weaker than his, at the middle stage life and death realm. Ning Cheng had cultivated within the mysterious yellow bead, with the help of the mysterious yellow origin, the starry sky essence chi vein, and countless permanent essence pills. It allowed him to advance to the middle level of life and death realms so quickly. How could Duan Gantai keep up with him so quickly? Ning Cheng was shocked, and so was Duan Gantai. Although he could not clearly see Ning Cheng's cultivation, he could vaguely feel that Ning Cheng's cultivation was not lower than his own, perhaps even higher. He initially thought that with his cultivation, he would soon be able to leave Ning Cheng behind by tens of thousands of miles. But in fact, Ning Cheng's cultivation not only did not fall behind him, but even showed signs of overtaking him. The reason why he was able to reach the middle stage of the life and death realm in such a short time was because of a fortuitous encounter not too long ago. It was because he had obtained some of the rare treasures from the Guardian Temple, one of the 3 temples in the striking order Starry Sky, that he managed to advance to the middle level of the life and death realm. What did Ning Cheng rely on? His cultivation speed was so fast? Unfortunately, he didn't have the real none to depend on wine. Otherwise, he could definitely open the deeper levels of the Guardian Temple and obtain even better things. Opening the inner hall of the Guardian Temple required a type of spirit technique, the none to depend on spirit technique. Although he had engraved a detailed introduction to the none to depend on spirit technique at the entrance of the inner hall, without the none to depend on wine, he still couldn't comprehend this spirit technique. Duan Gantai believed that with his IQ and aptitude, as long as he had a pot of none to depend on wine, he could definitely comprehend the none to depend on spirit technique. Brother Ning, something happened to my connecting spirit silk. Fortunately, it's all good now. Duan Gantai laughed and greeted him enthusiastically. Ning Cheng felt the celestial essence fluctuations coming from Duan Gantai's body and showed a smile. Brother Duan, you've had a lot of opportunities recently. My luck is a lot worse. Entering the ancient Shadow Temple, I almost lost my life. By the way, Brother Duan has been in the striking order Starry Skies recently. Did you find the Guardian Temple? Duan Gantai felt surprised and quickly laughed a few times. How is that possible? The Guardian Temple is one of the 3 major temples of the striking order Starry Skies, even above the Temple of Time. Even if I found it, I wouldn't be able to get it by myself. Brother Ning, we're old friends. It's been a long time since we last met. Why don't we find a place to have a few drinks first? Ning Cheng didn't doubt Duan Gantai's words. Instead, he was wondering how to ask Duan Gantai for the breaking boundary talisman. But he never expected Duan Gantai to suggest drinking. He was just about to agree, but just as the words were about to leave his mouth, his heart suddenly moved. Since Duan Gantai came looking for him in such a hurry, it stood to reason that the first thing he proposed was to go to the Temple of Time together. Why would he suggest drinking? Besides, how did Duan Gantai come here so quickly? After swallowing the words he was about to say, Ning Cheng sighed and said, "Oh, Brother Duan, I can't wait to have a drink with Brother Duan and then go to the Temple of Time." Unfortunately, Duan Gantai suddenly felt a shadow in his heart. Since he asked Ning Cheng to drink, he naturally wanted to use the wine to draw out the none to depend on wine. Then, he would find a way to get Ning Cheng to give him some. The excuse was naturally that he liked the none to depend on wine too much. He had already guessed that Ning Cheng had killed Mutual Dependence Chamber of Commerce's Zhu Jingfeng when Ning Cheng took out the none to depend on wine to invite Chuan Xinlo and the others to a banquet. Moreover, Ning Cheng had even taken away Zhu Jingfeng's things. In other words, if he wanted to drink the none to depend on wine, he could only look for Ning Cheng. Duan Gantai felt both shock and admiration towards Ning Cheng for killing Zhu Jingfeng. If Zhu Jingfeng could be killed so easily, he would have already killed Zhu Jingfeng a long time ago. Unexpectedly, before he could do anything, Ning Cheng took the initiative. What's a pity? Does Brother Ning have any difficulties? If Brother Ning doesn't mind, you can tell this brother about it. As long as this brother can help, this brother will never refuse. Duan Gantai patted his chest and spoke passionately. Ning Cheng hesitated for a moment before nodding and saying, "Let me ask, how did Brother Duan come here so quickly?" Duan Gantai chuckled and made an embarrassed gesture. "I know that I'm slow and afraid that I wouldn't be able to see Brother Ning for a while. Therefore, I arranged a temporary teleportation array outside Jiangzhou Star where Brother Ning is located. Fortunately, my attainments in array formations have improved a lot." Hearing this, Ning Cheng suddenly felt enlightened. With Duan Gantai's shrewdness and cunning, he should have thought of this a long time ago. Duan Gantai continued with a simple and honest voice. "I realize that my attainments in array formations are nothing compared to Brother Ning's. Brother Ning can even arrange a star-protecting grand array. It's really embarrassing for me." Since Ning Cheng couldn't find him several times, Duan Gantai decided to use a teleportation array to block his path. However, from Duan Gantai's words, Ning Cheng understood that Duan Gantai wasn't sure if he arranged the star-protecting grand array alone. Thinking of this, Ning Cheng simply said, "This star-protecting grand array also required some help. I can't arrange it by myself. Brother Duan, you think too highly of me." Duan Gantai wasn't sure if Ning Cheng's words were true or false. Therefore, he spoke up with a straight face. "Brother Ning, in any case, you can own a celestial river in such a short time and even establish a sect. Compared to Brother Ning, I find that I'm just messing around." Ning Cheng waved his hand and didn't want to continue with such hypocrisy with Duan Gantai. He simply said, "I'm going to a place and lack a breaking boundary talisman. I heard that Brother Duan has such a breaking boundary talisman. I don't know if Brother Duan can part with it." When Duan Gantai heard that Ning Cheng wanted a breaking boundary talisman, he immediately felt entangled in his heart. It wasn't easy for him to obtain this breaking boundary talisman. Now that Ning Cheng wanted it, should he give it to him or not? If he didn't give it to Ning Cheng, then only Ning Cheng had it. If he didn't give the breaking boundary talisman to Ning Cheng, then he could forget about asking Ning Cheng for it. "I do have a breaking boundary talisman, which I obtained from Yu Clan's corner. I promised a friend to give it to him, but he said that he could help me get a dozen pots of none to depend on wine. If not for that, I would have given this talisman to Brother Ning directly." Duan Gantai hesitated for a while before speaking with some embarrassment. For this breaking boundary talisman, Ning Cheng even planned to give up some of the things in the Temple of Time. He even prepared to give Duan Gantai a key to the Temple of Time. But to his surprise, Duan Gantai didn't mention anything about the Temple of Time but the none to depend on wine. The none to depend on wine was just a drink. At best, it could deepen one's understanding of the none to depend on spirit technique. Since Duan Gantai didn't know the none to depend on spirit technique, why would he want the none to depend on wine? Moreover, he wanted a dozen pots? Besides, even a dozen pots of none to depend on wine couldn't compare to a breaking boundary talisman, right? Unless he took out the real top-grade none to depend on wine he obtained from the Mo clan's secret chamber. These thoughts flashed through Ning Cheng's mind for a moment before he smiled and said, "That's a pity. I only have 3 pots of none to depend on wine. Otherwise, I could have given them to Brother Duan for free." Duan Gantai secretly cursed Ning Cheng for being shameless in his heart, wanting his breaking boundary talisman for just 3 pots of none to depend on wine. But when he thought of the item in the Guardian Temple, he suppressed his displeasure. Not to mention 3 pots of none to depend on wine, even if it was just a pot of none to depend on wine, as long as he could comprehend the none to depend on spirit technique and enter the inner hall of the Guardian Temple, he could only pinch his nose and make the exchange. 3 pots of none to depend on are better than nothing. Many thanks, Brother Ning, for giving it to me for free. Duan Gantai quickly thanked him. Ning Cheng also politely replied, well said, it's just a small matter." Duan Gantai, on seeing that Ning Cheng didn't take out the none to depend on wine, understood that Ning Cheng's skin wasn't as thin as his. Therefore, it would be impossible for him to control Ning Cheng with words. He could only take out a jade box and open it before saying, "Ning Cheng gave me 3 pots of none to depend on for free. I don't care about that friend anymore. Since Brother Ning and I felt like old friends at first sight, then I will give this breaking boundary talisman to Brother Ning." Although he said those words, in fact he did not hand over the box to Ning Cheng. Just as Ning Cheng did not trust him, he also did not trust Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness fell into the jade box and confirmed that it was a breaking boundary talisman. He also took out 3 pots of none to depend on and suspended them in front of him. He took out the none to depend on wine from Zhu Zhengfeng's ring. As for the real top-quality none to depend on wine, Duan Gantai could forget about it. The two of them quickly got what they wanted, and they were both happy. Duan Gantai felt that the none to depend on wine given by Ning Cheng was of a higher grade than the real none to depend on wine he had drunk before, which made him feel a little strange. "Brother Ning, I originally wanted to go to the Temple of Time. Unfortunately, I have to give the none to depend on wine to someone else. I can only meet Brother Ning after this matter is over." Duan Gantai put away the 3 pots of none to depend on wine and spoke with a sigh. Ning Cheng grew even more suspicious. What did this Duan Gantai want? Was it more important than entering the Temple of Time? Despite his doubts, Ning Cheng didn't ask about it. He knew that it would be pointless to ask. Duan Gantai and Ning Cheng exchanged a few more polite words before quickly bringing out a flight-type weapon and flying away. In just an incense stick worth of time, Ning Cheng could no longer sense Duan Gantai's connecting spirit silk. Ning Cheng understood that this fellow had once again shielded his connection with the connecting spirit silk. From this, Duan Gantai definitely wanted to do something shameful. Ning Cheng felt helpless. He could only shield his connection with the connecting spirit silk. Duan Gantai was a cunning fellow, so he would never let him track him. Now that he obtained the breaking boundary talisman, if Duan Gantai didn't go to the Temple of Time, shouldn't he go to the Graceful Star Mainland first? Thinking of the suppression of the Graceful Star Mainland's laws, Ning Cheng felt a headache. Chapter 762. Ning Cheng knew that this was the most appropriate time to go to the Yixing mainland. At this time, no one would care about him. He didn't even know if Chuan Xinlo and the others were dead or alive. The Devil Domain and Demon Domain couldn't take care of themselves, while the Grand Spirit Heaven Starry Sky wouldn't care about him. Even if it was the Grand Culmination Starry Skies, with Chen Xingwen stirring things up, they would definitely not dare to offend his mysterious yellow sect at this time. If he left Stately River Star temporarily, there would be no problem. However, if Chuan Xinlo and the others managed to escape in the future, he would have to leave Jiangzhou Star. In any case, his sister Ning Ruolin was still in secluded cultivation in Stately River Star. Moreover, Striking Order Heavenly Emperor had yet to return. Although his cultivation was no worse than Striking Order's, his qualifications were far inferior to Striking Order's. Moreover, even if he wanted to put up a notice in every corner of the Striking Order starry skies looking for Luofei and Qianghua, it would not be realistic without the support of Striking Order Heavenly Emperor. It had been a long time since the mysterious Yellow Sect was established, yet there was no news about Qianghua and Luofei. From this, it could be seen that the two of them were most likely in secluded cultivation. I must take advantage of this period to go to the Yixing mainland. After Ningqing thought about these issues, he decided that it was the most appropriate time to go to the Yixing mainland. With the breaking boundary talisman, the only restriction that the graceful star mainland placed on him was the suppression of the laws. However, Ningqing knew that it was absolutely impossible for him to advance to the point where he would not be suppressed by the laws of a low-level continent in a short time. Even if his mysterious yellow bead was heaven-defying, he simply did not have that many cultivation resources. If he wanted to go to the graceful star mainland as soon as possible and take back the giant's eye, then the only way was to free himself from the suppression of the low-level laws. Ningqing thought about how he could even simulate a celestial wheel, which meant that it was not impossible for the laws of the lower-leveled interface to not suppress him. If it didn't work, he would suppress his cultivation. The mysterious yellow formless was formless, and it could completely suppress one's cultivation to the domain realm. Without the boundary-breaking talisman, Ningqing wanted to speed up his cultivation and advance to the eternal realm as soon as possible. Now that he had the breaking boundary talisman, Ningqing decided to immediately head to the graceful star mainland after some consideration. If Striking Order Heavenly Emperor hadn't appeared by the time he returned, he would find a way to take control of the Striking Order Starry Sky and then release a message to the Striking Order Starry Sky to look for Luofei. A few days later, Ningqing once again stood on the receiving heaven stone, his heart filled with emotions. It was here that Yan Ji was forced to leave, and it was also here that he established his prestige and saved Yi Zhuzhu. Then he saved Yi Zhuzhu's parents, Yi Jin and Chang Manin, in Border City. He saved Yi Zhuzhu, who was about to die, and even took out the wood essence and treated Yi Zhuzhu like his own family. But how would Yi Zhuzhu repay him? Sister, her benefactor, had been tricked into going to the Bridge of Storms. Yet, not only did she not investigate, she also did not even think about rescuing her. Instead, he emptied the immortal cave that he and Luofei used to cultivate in, giving it to the male cultivator who framed Luofei. After he came back, he even said that it was that male cultivator who harmed Luofei. However, not only did Yi Zhuzhu not feel any remorse, she even helped the enemy even more. She had completely forgotten the benevolence she and Luofei had shown her. Her heart was so cold that it was hard to believe it. If that was the case, then Ningqing could also think of it as Yi Zhuzhu's age, as such she would not encounter many things and would not be deceived by others. However, after he killed the man who framed Luofei, her eyes were filled with gray hatred. None of this could escape Ningqing's spiritual consciousness. She had automatically ignored the fact that he had saved her family. Even when Luofei was trapped in the Bridge of Storms, she did not show even half a shred of anxiety or worry. Instead, she concentrated on cultivating with her sweetheart. If not for Yi Jin and Chang Manin, Ningqing would have already killed Yi Zhuzhu with a fireball. What he hated the most in his life were ungrateful people, and Yi Zhuzhu was no longer just an ungrateful person. These scenes flashed through Ningqing's mind. After a long time, Ningqing sighed and took out the breaking boundary talisman. Ningqing activated the breaking boundary talisman, which turned into a white halo that wrapped around Ningqing. Ningqing's spiritual consciousness permeated out and quickly felt the various interfaces. This made Ningqing feel relieved. With his cultivation, he could choose the interface of the breaking boundary talisman and would not find the wrong place. A blue sea appeared in front of Ningqing's eyes. This was the Yixing Ocean. Ningqing was able to recognize it with just a glance. Not waiting for Ningqing to take any action, a violent aura of laws suppressed him, and the surrounding space also started to make kakao sounds. Space, time, and all kinds of attribute forces crazily squeezed towards Ningqing. as if wanting to use the destruction of this side of the world to crush Ning Qing into pieces. Ning Qing had a feeling that he could tear the void in this place and then leave this place. After finally returning to the graceful star mainland, how could Ning Qing leave this place? He was just about to suppress his cultivation when the mysterious yellow bead's mysterious yellow origin aura instantly spread out. At this moment, his sea of consciousness, meridians, and dantian all started to flow with the mysterious yellow aura. What made Ning Qing feel ridiculous was that he could even feel the aura of laws from the mysterious yellow bead. In just a few breaths, the power of the laws suppressing Ning Qing suddenly disappeared without a trace. Ning Qing stood above the graceful star ocean in surprise and did not sober up from this change for a while. The mysterious yellow bead had actually assimilated the aura of the graceful star mainland's laws, allowing the mysterious yellow bead to absorb all the power of laws. The mysterious yellow bead had balanced the huge power gap between him and the laws of the outside world, allowing him to appear in a low-level interface without being affected. He did not need to suppress his cultivation at all to be able to walk around in this place. In other words, even if he could cripple the graceful star mainland with a single palm strike, the laws would not be able to suppress him. Ning Qing felt relieved as he slowly swept out with his spiritual consciousness. Once he was no longer affected by the laws, his spiritual consciousness, except for a few places, could sweep through almost the entire graceful star mainland. He had come to the graceful star ocean a few times, and had even obtained a 9-colored mirage tree in this place. Thinking of the 9-colored mirage tree, Ning Qing suddenly remembered a cultivator called Mu Xuanlin. This Mu Xuanlin was the sect master of a small academy. Initially, this cultivator was so poor that he had to borrow a spiritual artifact from him. Ning Qing gave out a sigh and took out a command token. Mu Xuanlin had asked him to give this sect master token to his son, Mu Nan. However, he had too many things to take care of, as such he did not remember such a trivial matter. If not for him appearing in the graceful star ocean today, and thinking of the 9-colored mirage tree, he really would not have remembered such a trivial matter. However, this formless sect was somewhat similar to the name of his cultivation method. As Ning Qing's spiritual consciousness slowly swept out, he found that the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's imposing manner was still very strong. Although there were not many cultivators that he was familiar with, but it seemed that the development of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect was quite good. Seeing that the Rainbow Fall Sword sect was quite good, Ning Qing also did not intend to go to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. He was going to look for an elder sister Shu as well as Tai Shu Shi, and then go to the Forsaken Land. Ning Qing's powerful spiritual consciousness quickly found the formless sect in the Tian continent. What made Ning Qing speechless was that the 4-star academy that Mu Xuanlin spoke of was just a broken tile house. There was not even a decent building, nor were there any disciples coming and going. If not for the huge stone tablet outside the academy that had fallen to the ground, with the words Formless Sect engraved on it, Ning Qing would not have been able to find this place. Even the stone tablet of the Formless Sect was now mottled and covered with moss. After a few breaths, Ning Qing stood in front of a tile house. Among the dilapidated tile-roofed houses of the Formless Sect, this one could be considered slightly better. Inside the house, there was a man and 2 women. The man had the cultivation of essence building 2nd level. Of the 2 women, the one wearing a red robe had the cultivation of essence building 1st level, while the other woman wearing a gray robe had the cultivation of true condensation 3rd level. The red-robed woman had a storage ring, while the man and the gray-robed female cultivator both used storage bags. Mu Shan, how long have we been holed up here? Several of the major academies in the Tian continent are currently selecting disciples. What's the use of staying here? Over the years, our cultivation has not improved at all. If you still have a little ambition, then don't stay in this broken place. Come with me to the place where the Rainbow Fall Sword sect selects disciples. The one speaking was the red-robed female cultivator. Her tone was not only anxious, but her mood was also extremely unstable. Mu Shan pursed his lips and did not say a word. Even if the red-robed female cultivator scolded him, it would only make him look like a good-for-nothing. Big sister Hong Yi, don't scold elder brother Shan. If you want to scold someone, scold me. It was me who always persuaded elder brother Shan to stay. I'm sorry. This time, it was the gray-robed woman who spoke. The red-robed woman had not scolded the gray-robed woman, but after hearing the words of the gray-robed woman, she immediately turned around and pointed at the gray-robed woman and cursed, "Chow Yun, don't make sarcastic remarks. If it weren't for a shameless woman like you, Mu Shan and I would have already become disciples of a major sect. Big Sister Hong Yi, this is Elder Brother Shan's ancestral estate. We are all Elder Brother Shan's women. We should stay by Elder Brother Shan's side." The woman named Chow Yun spoke up with an even more cowardly tone. Slap, the red-robed woman raised her hand and slapped Chow Yun's face. "Bitch, it's because of you that Mu Shan ended up in this situation. Get the hell out of here." Chow Yun held her red cheeks and retreated in panic. "Enough." Mu Shan gave a cold shout, "Wailing you, touch your conscience. Of the cultivation resources the three of us obtained, you can use them first. I only have one ring and it's for you. What did little Yun use? She still has a low-level storage bag, and her cultivation is only at the true condensation 3rd level. Not only are you not grateful, but you also feel uncomfortable looking at little Yun. I, Mu Shan, have no ability. As little Yun said, this is my ancestral estate. I, Mu Shan, can't climb up to you. You can go and be a core disciple of Rainbow Fall Sword Sect. Little Yun and I will stay here." Mu Shan. Wailing Yu didn't seem to think that Mu Shan, who had always loved her, would scold her like this. When she saw the cold expression on Mu Shan's face, she felt even more wronged. She covered her face and rushed out. Even when she saw Ning Cheng outside the door, she only froze for a moment before running away again. "I'm sorry, Brother Shan. I'll go call Big Sister Hong Yi back." She was just angry for a moment. Chow Yun still had 5 finger marks on her face, but she still stood up in fear. Mu Shan shook his head. "Forget it. She's not someone who can share weal and woe with me. Thank you, little Yun. I've really wronged you all these years. Besides, I stayed here because I wanted to. You never tried to persuade me." Chow Yun's eyes turned red and was about to speak. But when she saw Ning Cheng coming in, she quickly swallowed her words and looked at Ning Cheng with doubt. Chapter 763. Your name is Mu Shan? Who is Mu Xuanlin to you? Ning Cheng looked at the male cultivator in front of him and asked. Mu Shan obviously couldn't see through Ning Cheng's cultivation. Now that Ning Cheng asked about Mu Xuanlin, he quickly bowed and replying to Senior, "Mu Xuanlin is my grandfather." "Then Moonan should be your father, right?" Ning Cheng could tell that Mu Shan looked like Mu Xuanlin and could guess a few things. "Yes, Senior, why are you here?" Mu Shan showed some caution in his eyes. A person he had never seen before came to ask about his grandfather and father, which made him feel uneasy. "Your grandfather gave me this token before he died and asked me to give it to Mu Nan. I haven't had time to come over because I've been busy. But this time, I happened to see your sect. Your father, Mu Nan, isn't here, so it's the same for you." Ning Cheng finished and stuffed the sect master token into Mu Shan's hand. Mu Shan heard Ning Cheng's words and took the token with trembling hands. His eyes immediately turned red. His father had told him that his grandfather would come back before he died. He had stayed here not only to guard the broken formless sect, but also to wait for his grandfather to return. But now his grandfather hadn't returned, and only a sect master token came back. Mu Shan grabbed the token with both hands and bowed to Ning Cheng. "Many thanks, Senior, for bringing back my formless sect's token. Please tell me your name, benefactor. This junior will always remember Senior's kindness." For Mu Shan, he knew very well that he had no chance to repay Ning Cheng's kindness. This kindness could only be engraved in his heart. Ning Cheng nodded. "It's just a small matter. You don't have to worry about it. I've only met your grandfather a few times. Your grandfather's wish is to strengthen the formless sect in the future. I hope you can work hard to cultivate and fulfill your grandfather's last wish. Now that I've delivered the token, I'm leaving." Ning Cheng came here purely to help. He had helped Mu Xuanlin in the past. Now that he had brought Mu Xuanlin's sect master token, it was just a matter of lifting a finger. Seeing Ning Cheng about to leave, Mu Shan quickly said, "Senior, please wait. This junior has a few words to say to senior." After that, Mu Shan turned to Chao Yun and said softly, "Little Yun, you go out first. I have a few words to say to this senior alone." N. Chao Yun answered obediently and turned to leave. Ning Cheng, on the other hand, was a bit puzzled, although when Chao Yun came out of the door, he could see that this Chao Yun was a bit strange. However, according to Mu Shan's attitude towards Chao Yun, he shouldn't have asked her to go out. Senior, before Junior's father left, Junior's father had said that if one day grandfather really didn't return, and instead sent someone to bring back the sect head's token, then I was to give away the formless sect's stone tablet, and then leave the formless sect. In addition to guarding the formless sect, I am also guarding the steel. After Chao Yun left, Mu Shan spoke with a respectful tone. Stone tablet? Ning Cheng felt a little puzzled. It's the stone tablet with the 3 words formless school carved on it. It's the one that's covered in moss outside the school. The 3 words formless sect were added later. Mu Shan quickly explained on seeing Ning Cheng's doubts. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness immediately fell on the unremarkable stone tablet lying on the ground outside. This time he paid attention to it, and really found that the 3 words formless academy were different. The 2 words formless had a lot of momentum, and it even had a hint of a vague aura. However, the word sect was flat and didn't have even the slightest bit of momentum. What shocked Ning Cheng even more was that after his spiritual consciousness penetrated into the stone tablet, he found a small area that he couldn't sweep through. Not only that, but he also felt a familiar aura. This stone tablet definitely wasn't ordinary. Ning Cheng didn't immediately take the stone tablet. He had already decided to help Mu Shan. Regardless of whether the stone tablet was ordinary or not, Mu Shan could follow his father's instructions and guard the formless sect's stone tablet. Ning Cheng also valued this kind of person. Mu Shan, I think you and that Chao Yun seem to have a good relationship. Why did you call Chao Yun out when you talked to me? Ning Cheng asked in doubt. Mu Shan quickly responded, Senior, my father told me that the stone tablet cannot be leaked. It can only be given to the person who brings back the formless sect's sect head's token. Moreover, when you give the stone tablet away, no third party should be around. Otherwise, it would only harm others and yourself. There was one more sentence that Mu Shan didn't say. His father once said that the cultivator who could return an unremarkable 4-star sect head's token to the formless sect was qualified to own the stone tablet. Do you know the origin of the stone tablet? Ning Cheng asked again. Mu Shan nodded. My great-grandfather obtained the stone tablet because the stone tablet had the 2 words formless on it. My great-grandfather felt that the stone tablet was unusual, so he added the word sect behind the 2 words formless and established the formless sect. After this stone tablet is sent away, the formless sect can be considered to have disappeared. So that was the case. Ning Cheng felt even more favorable towards Mu Shan. He also understood what Mu Nen meant. The Mu clan hadn't been able to solve the mystery of the stone tablet for several generations. Mu Shan's aptitude was average and shouldn't have been able to solve it. Since this stone tablet was different, if it was placed in Mu Shan's hands, not only would it waste Mu Shan's time, it might even cause trouble for him. Therefore, Mu Nen simply asked his son Mu Shan to give the stone tablet away. I just saw that you seem to have 2 female confidants. Ning Cheng didn't ask about the stone tablet anymore but asked about the 2 women. After Mu Shan heard Ning Cheng's words, his face suddenly turned red, and he spoke up with some embarrassment. This junior's family matters have made senior laugh. Ning Cheng showed a slight smile. I'm not laughing. I just want to ask what you plan to do. Mu Shan didn't know why this senior wanted to ask about these things, but since Ning Cheng asked, he had to say it. Hong Yi and Little Yun are both people I like. It's just that Hong Yi isn't used to sharing joys and sorrows with me. I plan to take Little Yun away from here and become a rogue cultivator. I heard Hong Yi say that the Rainbow Fall Sword sect is recruiting disciples. She's right. Why don't you go to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect? Ning Cheng asked in doubt. Mu Shan shook his head. The Rainbow Fall Sword sect is very far from here, and we don't have the spirit stones to go to that place. Besides, even if we go there, the Rainbow Fall Sword sect wouldn't take a liking to us. I have this self-awareness. Ning Cheng, however, spoke up. Mu Shan, if I were you, I would choose between these two women. I would choose Wei Lingyu, not that Chao Yun who shares joys and sorrows with you. Mu Shan looked at Ning Cheng in disbelief. Not with the woman who shares joys and sorrows with him, but with that selfish woman? How could there be such a choice? Ning Cheng replied with a calm voice, that Chao Yun doesn't really want to be with you. Not only does she have a lot of cultivation resources, but she also sealed her cultivation. Her real cultivation is at the profound core 2nd level, not the true condensation 3rd level. Previously, when he casually glanced at her, Ning Cheng really thought that Chao Yun was at the true condensation 3rd level. For an ordinary female cultivator, he naturally wouldn't care about it, let alone use his spiritual consciousness to spy on her. Later, when Chao Yun walked past him, his gaze fell on Chao Yun for the 2nd time. Only then did he notice a restriction on Chao Yun's body. Because Chao Yun sealed this restriction herself, it didn't give off any fluctuations. Moreover, he didn't care about it, which was why he ignored it at first glance. But now that he cared about Mu Shan, he naturally cared about it. Chao Yun not only sealed her cultivation with her own restriction, but she also had a storage bracelet. It's just that her storage bracelet was hanging on her chest, which Ning Cheng didn't pay attention to. Moreover, Chao Yun's storage bracelet contained a lot of high-rank spirit stones. In contrast, the number of spirit stones in Mu Shan's ring was pitiful. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness even caught up with Wei Lingyu and forcibly opened Wei Lingyu's ring. The spirit stones inside were also pitiful, no more than Mu Shan's. From this, it could be seen that Chao Yun's pitiful and considerate appearance was just an act. Mu Shan's mouth opened wide. He couldn't believe Ning Cheng's words at all. He knew Chao Yun too well. How could she put a restriction on herself and seal her cultivation? He didn't have anything to deceive him with. Besides, if Chao Yun really wanted his things, wouldn't it be simpler to ask him directly or kill him directly? Does Wei Lingyu often beat up Chao Yun? Ning Cheng ignored Mu Shan's surprise and asked another question. Mu Shan apparently hadn't recovered from Ning Cheng's previous words. It took him a while to reply, "No, it's the first time Hong Yi beat up little Yun." Ning Cheng sneered, "If I didn't guess wrong, as long as Wei Lingyu didn't come back, Chao Yun would kill her." But Mu Shan still didn't want to accept Ning Cheng's inference. Ning Cheng didn't answer. Instead, he released his domain and raised his hand to grab something. After a few breaths, a crystal ball appeared in Ning Cheng's hand. He threw the crystal ball to Mu Shan and said, "See for yourself." This crystal ball was the memory crystal ball Ning Cheng had obtained from Chao Yun. Chao Yun had stayed in formless sect to find something. She only knew that this thing was extraordinary, and Mu Xuanlin's father had obtained it. As for what it was, she didn't know. It's just that when she came here, Mu Xuanlin's father had already fallen, and Mu Xuanlin had also disappeared for a long time. Mu Xuanlin's son, Mu Nan, had also fallen, leaving only Mu Nan's son, Mu Shan. With Chao Yun's strength, she couldn't search the soul of Mu Shan, who had an essence-building cultivation. She could only stay by Mu Shan's side and keep knocking on his door. In order to stay here alone with Mu Shan, she swallowed her anger and pretended to be meek. It's just that Mu Shan remembered his father's teachings and never revealed the secret of formless sex stone steel. After a long time, Chao Yun started to like Mu Shan. She wanted to find a chance to kill Wei Lingyu, but Wei Lingyu never left Mu Shan's side. This time, Wei Lingyu left in anger, which was exactly what she wanted. She didn't expect that Ning Cheng would come here with the sect master token, which immediately made her heart beat faster. Unfortunately, she hid outside and listened for a long time but didn't hear anything. Chapter 764. After Mu Shan read the memory crystal ball, his hands trembled. He didn't expect Chao Yun, who was so considerate to him, to have such a scheming mind. No wonder she had been carefully and considerately advising him not to be impatient, to rebuild the sect slowly, and that she would do her best to help him. After a few minutes, Mu Shan finally calmed down a bit. He then bowed to Ning Cheng and said, "Senior, this junior wants to leave this place to find Hong Yi. Junior asks senior to let Chow Yun off this time." Mu Shan really couldn't go on. The greater the expectation, the greater the disappointment. Ning Cheng showed a faint smile. "I and Chow Yun have no enmity, why would I want to deal with her? Then senior, please return this crystal ball to Chow Yun. This junior will take his leave." Mu Shan handed the crystal ball to Ning Cheng and turned around to leave. "Wait." Ning Cheng stopped Mu Shan, took out a ring and handed it to Mu Shan. "This ring is enough for you to cultivate to the crucible transformation realm. There are 3 sword talismans inside. These 3 sword talismans can protect you 3 times. Even a crucible transformation cultivator wouldn't be able to harm you." Ning Cheng was not a sword cultivator, as such his most powerful weapon was naturally not the sword talisman, but rather the spear talisman. However, in a place like the Yixing mainland, his sword talisman was more than enough to sweep away everything. Mu Shan took the ring from Ning Cheng in surprise. Seniors giving opportunities to juniors wasn't a rare thing. Wasn't the fortuitous encounter given by this senior in front of him too great? Let him cultivate to the crucible transformation realm? Moreover, these 3 sword talismans were something that even a crucible transformation cultivator could not deal with? Was this a dream or something? "Where do you want to go?" Ning Cheng saw Mu Shan at a loss and asked. "I'm going to find Hong Yi, and then take her to Rainbow Fall Sword Sect to try my luck." Mu Shan spoke up subconsciously. "I'll send you there. By the way, there's also a crystal ball with my message in the ring I gave you. If you want to join the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect, then all you have to do is to take out this crystal ball and give it to the cultivators who are recruiting disciples. Tell him, my name is Ning Cheng." After Ning Cheng finished, he waved his hand, and Mu Shan disappeared without a trace in front of him. Thousands of miles away, a female cultivator in a red dress sat on a blue stone with her head lowered, looking very lonely. The person she had followed for so many years didn't even call out to her after she left. Was it wrong for him to scold him for not seeking fortuitous encounters? Holing up in the dilapidated formless sect all day long, other than increasing one's sadness and wiping away one's lofty ambitions, there was no other use. A breeze blew by and woke her up. She looked up and froze. Mu Shan was standing in front of her in a daze. "Mu Shan!" Wei Lingyu immediately cried out in surprise. Since Mu Shan could come here, he must have chased after her. This made the grievances in her heart lessen a lot. After following Mu Shan for so many years, Mu Shan finally didn't forget her. Mu Shan felt shocked in his heart. He had come here before, so he was familiar with this place. It was at least a few thousand miles away from the formless sect. That senior called Ning Cheng had casually rolled him up and brought him to this place. Even a crucible transformation senior would not have such a powerful spiritual ability, right? "Mu Shan, what's wrong with you?" Seeing Mu Shan's blank look, Wei Lingyu quickly called out again. Mu Shan recovered and stepped forward to grab Wei Lingyu's hand. "Hongyi, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have yelled at you before. That's all in the past. Since you don't want to go to a big sect, let's go back to the formless sect." Although Wei Lingyu wanted Mu Shan to come with her, she knew that Mu Shan wouldn't leave the formless sect easily. Mu Shan shook his head. "No, Hongyi, let's go to the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect now. I got a recommendation from a senior. He said that as long as I take out the crystal ball, wait." At this point, Mu Shan stopped talking and muttered to himself, "Ning Cheng, Senior Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng." Wei Lingyu felt happy when she heard that Mu Shan was willing to go to the big sect's disciple selection with her. But now, seeing Mu Shan talking about Ning Cheng, she looked at Mu Shan in doubt. She didn't understand why Mu Shan called Ning Cheng Senior. "I understand. Senior Ning Cheng is the sect master of the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect. He single-handedly fought against several big sects and even destroyed the Red Star Sword faction. He even took out the Mirage Stones to complete the Heaven's Way." Mu Shan trembled with excitement. He finally remembered who Ning Cheng was. He was the most famous powerhouse in the entire Tian continent. You said that the one who recommended you to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect was Sect Master Ning, Senior Ningqing? Wei Lingyu finally reacted. She felt even more excited than Mu Shan. She remembered the young cultivator she saw when she rushed out of the door. Mu Shan spoke up incoherently, "Yes, it's Sect Master Ning, let me see." After Mu Shan knew Ning Cheng's identity, he quickly swept into the ring with his spiritual consciousness. However, he immediately froze. Piles of medicinal pills, piles of spirit stones, top-grade cultivation methods, top-quality true artifacts. After a long time, Mu Shan sucked in a breath of cold air. No wonder Senior Ning Cheng said that these things could help him cultivate to the crucible transformation realm. With so many things, did he still want to go to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect? What's wrong? Wei Lingyu felt excited and worried about Mu Shan's state. Mu Shan took in a deep breath and pulled Wei Lingyu, trying to calm down his excitement. "Hong, let's go." Chow Yun was still outside the house. Just when she felt a little dizzy, Ning Cheng came out. "Senior." Chow Yun quickly bowed to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng nodded. "The thing that Mu Shan's grandfather, Mu Xuanlin, obtained is the formless sex stone steel. Mu Shan stayed here to give the stone steel to me. I've already sent Mu Shan away, and I've also taken away the stone steel. You don't have to stay here. Remove the restrictions in your body. Let's go." "Ah, Senior, this junior doesn't understand what senior means." Chow Yun spoke up in fear. Ning Cheng sighed. Even he had to admit that Chow Yun's acting skills were truly impressive. He took out a crystal ball and handed it to Chow Yun. "Mu Shan asked me to leave this for you. You don't have to give it to me." While speaking, Ning Cheng raised his hand and rolled up the stone steel with the 3 words "formless sect." After Chow Yun read the crystal ball, her entire body trembled. She didn't expect that someone could read her deepest memories. It was simply terrifying. Remember, don't go looking for trouble with Mu Shan. Otherwise, your cultivation will truly stop at the true condensation 3rd level forever. Ning Cheng's voice came over, but his figure had already disappeared. Chow Yun looked at the place where Ning Cheng disappeared in horror. She didn't expect that graceful star mainland would have such a powerhouse who could capture her thoughts. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept out, and soon, his spiritual consciousness fell on the celestial moon pill gate. He saw a starry sky level restriction here. How could a starry sky level restriction appear in a place like graceful star mainland? After a few breaths, Ning Cheng stood outside the restriction. It was a sealed cemetery, but it gave off a familiar aura. "Who are you? How dare you come here and offend my celestial moon pill sect?" A voice came from behind Ning Cheng. Apparently, it was the cultivator guarding the cemetery. Who built this cemetery? Who arranged the defensive array restrictions around it? Ning Cheng's voice sounded calm, but under the suppression of his powerful imposing aura, the cultivator guarding the cemetery couldn't put up any resistance. After half an incense stick worth of time, Ning Cheng left the celestial moon pill sect. He didn't expect that an E would tear through the void here. To be able to tear through the void without being suppressed by the laws here, one had to be an expert above the eternal realm. Not everyone could be like him, with a strong body and the mysterious yellow bead. But how could an E cultivate above the eternal realm? Even if an Yi's qualifications were heaven-defying, she didn't have any cultivation resources. Unless she was originally a cultivator in the eternal realm or above, but her cultivation had been sealed by someone and then unsealed. Ning Cheng thought back to when his cultivation was still low, and Yi's master had said that an E wasn't an ordinary person and that an E couldn't marry. Thinking back to an Yi's statue, which he had put away, he felt as if he wanted to catch hold of something, but he couldn't. And Yi's first master didn't have a high cultivation. One could even say that she had a low cultivation. Since she knew that an E wasn't ordinary, something must have happened when she adopted an E. But she didn't say anything about it. In any case, since an E could tear through the void and leave, it showed that an E was no longer that weak little nun. Ning Cheng felt happy for an E. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness couldn't find Tai Shu Shi and Lan Shu, but he saw Zhu Mu, Song Shua, Zhang Sun Yen and other acquaintances. Half an hour later, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness stopped at the periphery of a makeshift market. He saw a young female cultivator who looked somewhat similar to Lu. When his spiritual consciousness left this female cultivator and swept into the corner of the makeshift market, he saw two more acquaintances. Ji Luofei's mother, Xiong Qihua, and Zhu Hongwen, who always followed Xiong Qihua. Xiong Qihua seemed to be injured, and Zhu Hongwen was accompanying Xiong Qihua. They should be at the edge of the Lost Mountain Range, where there was a river called Emola River, which Ning Cheng had been to before. When he and Meng Jingxiu came out of the Angry Axe Valley, they had landed at the edge, near the Emola River. That place used to be deserted, but now it had become a small makeshift market, with many cultivators coming and going from the edge of the Lost Mountain Range. Ning Cheng guessed that something must have happened in the Lost Mountain Range, which made it less dangerous. Otherwise, ordinary cultivators would never dare to enter the Lost Mountain Range. Ning Cheng didn't need to guess. He immediately knew that the female cultivator who looked somewhat similar to Luofei was Xiong Qihua's second daughter. Thinking that Xiong Qihua had unexpectedly told Luofei that she was pregnant because of herself, Ning Cheng couldn't help but feel speechless in his heart. He shook his head and did not intend to greet her. Ning Cheng was just about to take back his spiritual consciousness when he saw a green-robed woman walk up to the female cultivator who looked somewhat similar to Luofei and seemed to be speaking in a stern voice. Just after saying a few words, that woman raised her hand and slapped Luofei's cheap little sister across the face. After the green-robed woman finished slapping her, she scolded her a few more times before leaving. Luofei's little sister covered her face with her hands, but her expression was also very calm. It seemed that she had experienced this kind of thing many times. Ning Cheng hesitated for a moment, but after thinking about it, he still decided to leave. Chapter 765. What's your name? Ning Cheng stopped this female cultivator who looked somewhat similar to Luofei and asked. The female cultivator stared at Ning Cheng cautiously and took a few steps back before speaking. Who are you? I've never seen you before. My name is Ning Cheng. It's normal that you haven't seen me before. Ning Cheng replied. When he met Xiong Qihua, this female cultivator wasn't even born yet. After hearing Ning Cheng's words, the female cultivator immediately looked at Ning Cheng in shock. She opened her mouth wide for a while before speaking up. You're Ning Cheng? That's right, no wonder you look so familiar. Are you my elder sister Luofei's Dao companion? What about my elder sister? When Ning Cheng heard this female cultivator's words, he understood that Xiong Qihua must have told her a lot of things and even let her see his portrait. But now that he had a beard on his face, it was normal for her not to recognize him. Hearing this female cultivator ask about Luofei, Ning Cheng didn't know how to answer for a while. This female cultivator didn't wait for Ning Cheng to answer at all. She pulled Ning Cheng and said, "Brother-in-law, come in with me. I have something to tell you." Ning Cheng was surprised by this female cultivator's strong ability to get familiar with things, as well as this kind of casual action. However, he soon felt relieved. Living in this place, how could there be something like princess syndrome? Presumably, she was a completely different type of person from Nailan Rushue, who suffered from princess syndrome. I forgot to tell you. My name is Jun Yanfei. Jun Yanfei pulled Ning Cheng into a simple rest stop next to them. She then raised her hand and threw a middle-rank spirit stone to the shop assistant. I want a private room. You don't have to give me the change. The shop assistant silently took the spirit stone and thought to himself that it was just a middle-rank spirit stone. Whether it was enough or not was a completely different matter. Why would I even need to give you the change? Ning Cheng saw a flash of pain in Jun Yanfei's eyes, but he didn't point it out. Instead, his spiritual consciousness directly fell into Jun Yanfei's storage bag. In her storage pouch, there were 2 low-grade spirit stones, as well as some low-grade spirit herbs that could not be any more low-grade. In addition to that, there was also a broken middle-rank artifact. Apart from the broken middle-rank artifact, the middle-rank spirit stone should be the most valuable thing she had. Yet, she used it to entertain guests. The things in Jun Yanfei's storage bag didn't match her cultivation. With the cultivation of true condensation first level, It was reasonable to say that he should not be this poor. Ning Cheng thought back to when he was at true condensation first level, when he was much richer than Jun Yanfei. The spirit stones were in the tens of thousands, and they were all high-grade spirit stones. After entering the private room, Jun Yanfei activated the private room's restrictions and then poured a cup of tea for Ning Cheng. The tea in the booth wasn't even the lowest grade spiritual tea. Ning Cheng understood that Jun Yanfei didn't have any extra spirit stones to buy spiritual tea. Seeing Ning Cheng take a sip from the teacup, Jun Yanfei hurriedly asked, "Brother-in-law, why did you come to this place? Is my sister here too?" Ning Cheng paused for a moment, and then spoke, "Your sister has not come yet. I came here to help a friend take something back." "Brother-in-law, my mother said that you are not simple. You must be doing very well, right? I cannot see through your cultivation. Are you about to reach the essence building realm? Is my sister's cultivation the same as yours? Where are you?" Jun Yanfei didn't feel the slightest bit unfamiliar with Ning Cheng. When she talked to Ning Cheng, it was as if he was her own family member. He casually threw out a bunch of questions. About to reach the essence building realm? Ning Cheng coughed and thought to himself, "I'm a middle stage life and death expert. If you can see through my cultivation, would I still be able to live?" As for essence building realm, he didn't know how long ago it was. "I also wandered around and lived as a wanderer for a while. Later, I finally found a place to settle down, and Luo Fei should be going back soon." Jun Yanfei didn't think too much about Ning Cheng's words. In her mind, Luo Fei and Ning Cheng should be living together. It's just that her sister went out to look for resources, and her brother-in-law came here to get something. As for her sister going out to look for resources alone, it was normal for her. She had lived like this and lived like this. Didn't she need to look for resources by herself for cultivation? As for danger, wasn't there always danger in cultivation? I just saw a green-robed woman slap you, and I saw that you looked a bit similar to Luo Fei, so I came over to see." Ning Cheng could see through Jun Yanfei's temperament. She was a very direct person. Jun Yanfei touched her face in embarrassment and said, "It's nothing. It's not the first time. I owe them spirit stones and there's no way to pay them off. It's only right for me to get slapped." "How many spirit stones do you owe them?" Ning Cheng asked in doubt. "More than 50,000 middle-grade spirit stones." Jun Yanfei sighed. Ning Cheng looked at Jun Yanfei in disbelief. "How could you owe so much?" Ning Cheng wouldn't even bend down to pick up more than 50,000 middle-grade spirit stones if he threw it on the ground. But for Jun Yanfei, who could only take out a single middle-grade spirit stone, it was a huge sum of money that she couldn't repay in a lifetime. "My mother got seriously injured in the Lost Mountain Range and needs a lot of healing pills. I don't have any extra spirit stones to buy medicinal pills, so I can only borrow them. My father has to take care of my mother, so only my brother and I can pay back these spirit stones." Jun Yanfei said helplessly. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept towards Zhu Hongwen, who had already reached the essence building third level. Just as Ji Luofei said, Xiong Chihua's injuries required the help of true essence from time to time. Otherwise, her meridians would rupture, turning her into a complete cripple. Zhu Hongwen most likely stayed by Xiong Chihua's side to help her. "Do you have a younger brother?" Ning Cheng asked casually. Zhu Nianfei nodded. "Yes, my younger brother's name is Zhu Nianluo. He entered the Lost Mountain Range. Then you called me here and even spent a middle-grade spirit stone. Do you have something to talk to me about? If you don't have enough spirit stones, I still have some here." Ning Cheng asked. He guessed that Zhu Nianfei wanted to borrow spirit stones from him. Zhu Nianfei hesitated for a while before speaking. "Yes, I originally had this plan. But now that I know that you and Big Sister are also in a difficult situation, I'll forget about borrowing spirit stones." When Ning Cheng said that he was a wanderer and had just found a place to settle down, Zhu Nianfei immediately dispelled the idea of borrowing spirit stones from Ning Cheng. They at least had a place to settle down, while Ning Cheng had just found a place to settle down. This place wasn't the Tian continent, and she didn't know about Ning Cheng's fame. She took it for granted that Ning Cheng was just like them and had a hard time. She also didn't know that the place Ning Cheng mentioned was a celestial river within the starry sky and not a simple immortal cave in a makeshift market. Without waiting for Ning Cheng to speak, Zhu Nianfei continued, I came here to explain one more thing to you. When my mother got injured, she told me that if I could see you one day, I must apologize to you. The reason why my mother lied to my big sister back then was because she really didn't want to be separated from my big sister. After that, Zhu Nianfei stood up and bowed to Ning Cheng before sitting down again. Brother-in-law should know that my mother's name is Xiong Chihua. In fact, my mother and my father were lovers before she married my big sister's father. It's just that the Ji clan is too powerful, and my grandfather didn't allow my mother to be with a grassroots person like my father. So, he decided to marry my mother to the Ji clan. My father didn't feel at ease with my mother, so he followed her to the Ji clan and became a servant. Ning Cheng frowned slightly. He didn't like people like Xiong Chihua. Moreover, he also didn't like Xu Hongwen. Zhu Nianfei didn't notice Ning Cheng's expression and continued, although my father was my mother's servant, he never crossed the line. It wasn't until the Ji clan fell that they moved to the Ping continent. In the Dan forest, the entire Ji clan perished, and my father desperately tried to protect my mother as she escaped. It wasn't until my mother learned of Ji Xuanzhang's death that she and my father lived in seclusion in the Dan forest. As for the rest, my mother said that you already know. Whether you and my big sister see my mother or not, I've already brought these words to you. Thank you for listening to my long-winded words. I'm leaving now. Boom. Zhu Nianfei had just stood up when the restrictions around the box exploded. The shop assistant from before stood at the door of the box, and behind him were two people. One of them was the green-robed woman who slapped Zhu Nianfei before, and the other was a middle-aged man with brown hair. Ning Cheng had already seen the three people coming up, but he didn't speak. Since Zhu Nianfei owed someone spirit stones, he guessed that this person was here to collect the debt. As for how much she owed, he would help her pay it back. It's time for you to replenish your spirit stones. The time limit for a middle-rank spirit stone has already passed. The shop assistant pointed at Zhu Nianfei and spoke. Fear flashed across Zhu Nianfei's face, but she quickly regained her composure and said, I've calculated the time. It should be just the right time. The shop assistant sneered, that's because you've just arrived. As long as we exceed the time limit by even a breath, it will be calculated as the second spirit stone. You. Zhu Nianfei almost became speechless from anger when she heard such unreasonable words. However, her patience was truly unparalleled. She instantly adjusted her anger and spoke with a soft tone, I'm really sorry. I didn't know that there was such a rule. Please allow me to go back and find a way. The shop assistant still wanted to speak, but the green-robed woman directly walked to the front and sneered. Zhu Nianfei, do you think that we're easy to bully? You came to the rest stops box with spirit stones, yet you say that you don't have spirit stones to pay us back? Sister Xiaoxian, I really don't have spirit stones. My brother-in-law came over today, so I took out my only middle-rank spirit stone and invited my brother-in-law to the rest stop to have a chat. Sister Xiaoxian, please give me a few more days. I will definitely raise some spirit stones to pay you back. Zhu Nianfei spoke with sincerity. If Ning Cheng didn't know that this green-robed woman had slapped Zhu Nianfei, he would have thought that Zhu Nianfei and this green-robed woman had a good relationship. A few more days? How many more days have we given you? Why don't you go to a place where you can earn spirit stones? The green-robed woman spoke with disdain. Zhu Nianfei spoke up with even more sincerity. Sister Xiaoxian, I won't go to the dual cultivation house even if I die. Sister Xiaoxian, please rest assured that I will definitely raise some spirit stones to pay you back. Bitch, you only know how to find excuses to drag. The green-robed woman raised her hand and slapped Zhu Nianfei again. Chapter 766. Before the green-robed female cultivator could slap Zhu Nianfei's face, everyone heard a slap sound. The next moment, the green-robed female cultivator spat out a mouthful of blood and flew out. She then slammed into the restrictions of the opposite booth and blasted it open. The man and woman in the booth stood up. But when they saw the green-robed woman and the brown-haired middle-aged man, they didn't dare to say a word and quickly left. The green-robed woman climbed up from the ground and spat out a few teeth and a mouthful of blood. She then looked around in horror and saw a purple mark on her face. What happened? The brown-haired man also looked around in amazement and asked at the same time. The green-robed woman shook her head in confusion. I don't know. Someone suddenly slapped me, but I don't know who did it. In their view, no one had moved at all. No need to look around. I was the one who slapped you just now. How many spirit stones does Zhu Nianfei owe you? Ning Cheng took a step forward and asked. At this time, the green-robed woman and the brown-haired middle-aged man remembered that Ning Cheng was still nearby. Hearing that Ning Cheng had slapped them, the two immediately showed panic in their eyes. At this moment, they discovered that they couldn't see through Ning Cheng's cultivation at all. Without moving, Ning Cheng gathered his true essence and slapped a late-stage true condensation cultivator across the air. This was definitely a method above the soul essence realm. Soul essence cultivator, even if they borrowed their strongest powerhouse, it still wouldn't be enough. Replying to Senior, it's 5? No, it's 30,000 middle-grade spirit stones. The brown-haired middle-aged man reacted first and quickly bowed. 50,000 mid-grade spirit stones were obtained through compounding interest. But with a powerhouse like Ning Cheng here, who was also Zhu Nianfei's brother-in-law, how could they dare to ask for interest from Zhu Nianfei? Ning Cheng was just about to take out 50,000 middle-grade spirit stones when his hands suddenly stopped midway. He remembered that he didn't have any middle-grade spirit stones. The worst thing he had was high-grade spirit stones, top-grade spirit stones, starry sky crystals, perpetual moon pills, and so on. Zhu Nianfei felt pleasantly surprised to learn that Ning Cheng was so powerful that Chang Xiaoshuan didn't dare to take interest. Brother-in-law, you don't have to help me. I have a way to pay you back. Zhu Nianfei, who was pleasantly surprised, saw Ning Cheng's hand stop and immediately guessed that Ning Cheng didn't have enough spirit stones. No need. Ning Cheng waved his hand, and 3,000 high-grade spirit stones immediately floated in front of the green-robed woman. Pick up your spirit stones and scram as far as you can. Ning Cheng spoke in a sarcastic tone. Yes, yes. Not to mention that Ning Cheng was willing to return the spirit stones, even if Ning Cheng did not return the spirit stones. After seeing Ning Cheng's strength, the green-robed female cultivator and the brown-haired middle-aged man would not dare to say half a word. Senior, they forced me to come here. My rest stop will never charge for a little more time. Seeing the green-robed female cultivator and the brown-haired man walk away in panic, the shop assistant felt dumbfounded. He was also very quick-witted and quickly explained to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng ignored the shop assistant and took out a storage bag before handing it to Zhu Nianfei. There's a jade box inside. Take the medicinal pills inside and give them to your mother. I'm sure she'll recover soon. I'm leaving too. Ning Cheng took a look. If Ji Luofei's mother recovered from her injuries, their strength wasn't too bad in this place, and 2 essence-building cultivators were more than enough to gain a foothold here. By the time Zhu Nianfei took the storage bag, Ning Cheng had already walked far away. Seeing Ning Cheng disappear, the shop assistant also quickly left quietly. Even if someone gave him more courage, he wouldn't dare to go against Ji Luofei. Zhu Nianfei stood in a daze for a long time before reacting. Hearing Ning Cheng say that the storage bag contained medicinal pills that could help her mother recover, she quickly swept in with her spiritual consciousness. The first thing she saw wasn't the jade box containing the medicinal pills, but a ring. Using a storage bag to store a ring? Zhu Nianfei instantly understood Ning Cheng's meaning. Living alone in this place, she had long since honed her mind to become extremely smooth and delicate. She walked to a secluded place, grabbed the ring in her hand, and swept in with her spiritual consciousness. Tens of millions of high-grade spirit stones, along with bottles of medicinal pills, piled up like a small mountain of spirit artifacts and true artifacts. It almost made her scream. Just as Ning Cheng guessed, after Zhu Nianfei recovered from the shock, she quickly suppressed her excitement and put away the things with a calm expression. Then, she walked towards her residence at a leisurely pace. No matter how calm she looked on the surface, it couldn't calm her raging heart. What kind of treasures did Ning Cheng obtain? How could he take out so many things so casually? Even a medium-sized sect couldn't take out so many things, right? Ning Cheng's attitude towards her didn't seem very intimate, yet he still took out so many things for her. From this, it could be seen that this brother-in-law had many times more treasures than this. The things that Ning Cheng gave to Xu Yanfei were a shocking wealth for Xu Yanfei. For Ning Cheng, it was just giving away these useless things that took up a lot of space. As for taking away Xu Yanfei's family, Ning Cheng never thought about it. He had helped Xiong Qihua and Xu Yanfei out of respect for Li. It was absolutely impossible to bring someone like Zhu Hongwen to meet Lu Fei, and he would never do such a thing. By this time, Ning Cheng had already arrived at the deepest part of the Lost Mountain Range. Although the edge of the Lost Mountain Range wasn't as dangerous as before, Ning Cheng still felt a strong suction force from the center of the Lost Mountain Range. If Ning Cheng were still at the Crucible Transformation Realm or even below the Domain Realm, he wouldn't have been able to withstand this suction force. But now, this suction force felt like a vacuum cleaner to Ning Cheng's palm. It didn't affect him in the slightest. At the center of the Lost Mountain Range, there was a huge crater. A person sat at the edge of the crater. The reason why Ning Cheng came here was that he knew this person. It was a red-robed woman. When Ruolin asked for her name, this woman said that she was called Xingxin and then said that she didn't know who he was. "It's you?" As soon as Ning Cheng arrived at the edge of the crater, the red-robed woman recognized Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng nodded. "Yes, it's me. Have you been staying in this place?" He had already guessed that this red-robed woman wasn't simple. But now that Ning Cheng saw her, he felt even more shocked. He was already at the middle stage life and death realm, yet he still couldn't see the cultivation of this red-robed woman. The red-robed woman nodded. "Yes, I remember that I came from here. Originally, I should have gone back from here, but I had a feeling that once I went in, I would never be able to go back. Over the years, I've seen all the people and flying weapons that fell into this place, but none of them managed to come out. I've been hesitating, should I go in, or should I not go in?" Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept into the crater, but what shocked Ning Cheng was that even with his powerful spiritual consciousness, after entering the crater, it instantly disappeared without a trace. He simply couldn't detect even the slightest trace of it. Previously, he had thought that this was the only suction force in this place and didn't take the center of the Lost Mountain Range seriously. But now he realized that his thoughts were completely wrong. After the red-robed woman finished, she didn't care about Ning Cheng's answer. Instead, she looked at Ning Cheng in doubt and spoke. "Hey, I'm the only one who can come here. How did you come here?" "I saw you, so I came over to say hello. You've been here for so many years. Did you only think about that one question?" Ning Cheng asked. "No, I'm still thinking about who I am." The red-robed woman looked at Ning Cheng with her head tilted to the side and replied. Then she seemed to have thought of something and added, "I went to see you when you were crossing your tribulation. It was because I felt a strange aura. I felt like I had seen a similar aura somewhere before." Ning Cheng felt surprised in his heart. The aura that he exposed when he was crossing his tribulation was obviously the aura of the mysterious yellow origin or a good fortune treasure. Since this red-robed woman had seen this kind of aura before, then her origin was definitely not ordinary. "I'm leaving." Ning Cheng spoke up. This red-robed woman was very dangerous. That was what he felt. "Wait." The red-robed woman called out to Ning Cheng, "You are the only person apart from me who could come here. Can you answer the question I just asked? Should I go down from here?" Ning Cheng hesitated for a moment before speaking. "I think that if you go down from here, you still won't be able to go back. I guess that going down from here is not the place you want to go, but rather a very scary place." The red-robed woman grabbed her hair in a messy manner as she kept speaking. "What should I do? What should I do?" As she kept asking about what to do, the red-robed woman's expression became more and more anxious, more and more panicked. It seemed that the question that she had been wondering about had finally been answered, but she did not get the answer she deserved. Ning Cheng sighed and spoke, "You don't have to worry about it. If you believe me, then you can come with me." I will take you away from the Yixing mainland. I guess you should be living in a more advanced interface. If one had to speak about sympathy, then Ning Cheng indeed felt some sympathy for this red-robed woman. More importantly, he knew that this red-robed woman was not a sinister person. The Yixing mainland was a place with low laws. With the cultivation of this red-robed woman, she could easily destroy the entire mainland with a wave of her hand. However, she did not do so. It was not that she did not want to do so, but she knew the consequences of doing so. However, even if she did not do it now, it did not mean that she would not do it in the future. If one day she really could not figure out this problem, and ended up destroying the Yixing mainland, then it would truly be over. You said that you can take me back? The red-robed woman immediately put down the hand that was ravaging her hair and grabbed Ning Cheng in surprise. Ning Cheng had to reply, I just said that I might be able to help you find your hometown. However, I am not sure about this kind of thing, nor can I guarantee it. Contrary to Ning Cheng's expectations, the red-robed woman felt very satisfied with Ning Cheng's words. Of course, of course. I have been here for so many years, yet I have not come up with a way. If you take me with you, then you will definitely have to look for it slowly. I will come with you. Well, I will seal this place first, Ning Cheng said as he took out some array flags and began to arrange them. I'll help you. The red-robed woman finished and also took out some array flags to help Ning Cheng arrange them. Her attainments in array formations were not any lower than Ning Cheng's. Ning Cheng took in a deep breath. This red-robed woman's cultivation was indeed higher than his. Even her attainments in array formations were amazing. After an hour, the two of them completely sealed the huge pit. Ning Cheng turned around and said, My name is Ning Cheng, but I will call you Lost Heart from now on. Let's go now, you and I will go get something and then leave the Yixing mainland. Chapter 767. Don't you have a sister named Ning Rulin? What about your sister? Why isn't she with you? The red-robed woman asked an irrelevant question. Rulin is in secluded cultivation. You don't have to worry about it. Remember not to ask about it if you're with me. Otherwise, I'll do whatever you want. Then can I be your sister and call you Ning Rulin? After the red-robed woman finished, she saw Ning Cheng's unhappy expression and quickly said, I just don't think the name Xingxin is very good. I originally called myself Xingxin because I was afraid that people would forget that I came from the Lost Mountain Range. Now that we're leaving this place, I think I should change my name to something better. If you don't think it's good to be your sister, then I'll be your elder sister. I'll also be called Ning Rulin. Ning Cheng felt that the red-robed woman's intelligence must have suffered some damage when she crossed positional planes or interfaces. He had to speak up patiently, no need for elder sister. You can't be my elder sister. If you want to change your name, then let's call you Ning Rua. Ning Ruaching. You're also my sister. The red-robed woman didn't care about it at all. She grabbed Ning Cheng's hand in surprise and said, Okay, I'm your sister, Ning Ruaching. Well, now that you have a good name, come with me to a place, and then I'll take you out of here. Before the red-robed woman called her Ning Ruaching, Ning Cheng had only wanted to take her out of Graceful Star Mainland out of sympathy or a bit of worry. But after the red-robed woman changed her name to Ning Ruaching and wanted to be Ning Cheng's sister, Ning Cheng felt an inexplicable sense of closeness in his heart. He felt that his feelings towards the red-robed woman had completely changed. This kind of feeling, even Ning Cheng himself felt that it was very strange. It was as if this red-robed woman was really his sister, Ning Ruaching, and he was Ning Ruaching's elder brother. Ning Cheng didn't know that he would one day be regarded as arrogant and ignorant when he agreed to let the red-robed woman call him elder brother. The Hidden Mist Cemetery looked the same as when Ning Cheng first came here. It was still shrouded in a gloomy and cold mist. But unlike before, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness directly swept through everything in the Hidden Mist Cemetery. Any array formations, restrictions, or anything else in the Hidden Mist Cemetery that could obstruct one's spiritual consciousness would not be able to hide from his spiritual consciousness. Is the thing you're looking for here? Ning Ruaching followed behind Ning Cheng. She would do whatever Ning Cheng wanted to do. Now that she saw Ning Cheng stop in this place, she immediately asked about it. Ning Cheng gave in sound, "Yes, let's go in from here." I suddenly thought of something very strange. Coming to this place, Ning Cheng could tear apart all the restrictions and isolation array formations of the Forsaken Land as long as he raised his hand. However, he suddenly thought of something. Why did the Yixing mainland have so many powerhouses? This was just a low-level world. In front of him was Ning Ruoqing, who wanted to become his little sister, Song Wei, who he had saved in the Blood River Mountains, Tai Shu Shi's ancestor, Tai Shu Yi, and that soul-devouring old man underground. Not only that, but there were also many strange things in this place: the Forsaken Land, the Angry Axe Valley, and several immortal mansions. Moreover, his Star River was also obtained from one of the gates of the Immortal Mansion. Thinking of the Immortal Mansion, Ning Cheng immediately thought of the white-haired old woman. Ning Cheng couldn't find the white-haired old woman, nor did he see the old man. That old man's cauldron was a good item, but unfortunately, he had scared the old man away. Ning Cheng guessed that he had secretly hidden himself. "What's the matter?" Ning Ruoqing asked casually. Ning Cheng thought about it for a while before looking at Ning Ruoqing and asking, "Do you have any impression of what happened before you came to this place?" Hearing Ning Cheng's words, Ning Ruoqing started rubbing her hair again. Ning Cheng quickly said, "Forget it. Don't think about it. You'll know the reason in the future." After saying that, Ning Cheng raised his hand and tore apart all the isolation restrictions and array formations in front of him. The desert of the Forsaken Land then appeared in Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness. Ning Cheng stepped in and called out, "Don't think about it. Come in quickly." Ning Ruoqing didn't continue to think about it and followed Ning Cheng into the Forsaken Land. Ning Cheng could not even feel the slightest bit of suppression from the place that could restrict his cultivation in the past, but now that Ning Cheng stood in this place, he could not feel even the slightest suppression. Ning Ruoqing, who followed behind Ning Cheng, didn't feel any pressure at all. It also showed that her cultivation surpassed Ning Cheng's. "There's an eye at the bottom of this lake. I hate that dagger." Standing by the white-robed ghost lake, Ning Ruoqing looked at the lake in front of her and spoke with a frown. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness fell on the eye and once again felt the aura of the sealed giant. It made him feel lucky. This eye had long since been invaded by another aura. If he hadn't come here, someone would have refined this eye in a few years. Ning Cheng couldn't see through that dagger at first, but now he could clearly feel the power of that dagger. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept out and soon found Princess Man in Yaluan City. The original city master Yi Zhonghuan had long since disappeared. Not to mention Yi Zhonghuan, even his son had disappeared. In the largest hall of the city master's mansion, apart from Princess Man, there were only two maids standing outside the door. The two maids had a deathly look on their faces and looked as if their hearts had died. At the outermost periphery of the city master's mansion, there were rows of expressionless guards and some equally pale maids. The entire Yaluan city no longer had the vitality it once had and had turned lifeless. The living people looked like walking corpses. Princess Man's face had turned completely blue, and the blue crystal between her eyebrows had opened up, revealing a hazy eye. Ning Cheng gave a cold snort and raised his hand to grab it. This woman, as he had guessed, had taken over the body of the original Princess Man and used the protection of the Yaluan City's city master's mansion to slowly refine the eye at the bottom of the lake. Princess Man, who was sitting in the city master's mansion, suddenly stood up and gave a cold snort. The two maids standing outside the door heard the cold snort and quickly walked in. "Is the 1,000 chestnut flower ready? I want to take a bath." Princess Man spoke with an expressionless voice. The slightly taller maid replied with a respectful tone, "Replying to your majesty, the original 1,000 chestnut flower has been used up, but the new 1,000 chestnut flower has not yet been collected. We are still collecting." "Pa." The maid had not finished speaking when Princess Man slapped her across the face. The slightly taller maid opened her mouth and spat out a few teeth and a mouthful of blood. Princess Man did not stop there. Grabbing the maid's collar, she raised her hand and tore it. With a tearing sound, the maid's robes were completely torn off, revealing her white skin. When Princess Man saw this white skin, her eyes flashed with a strange light as she stuck out her tongue and licked her lips. However, she did not take the next step. Instead, she glanced at the other slightly trembling maid and asked the same question as before, "Is the 1,000 chestnut flower ready? I want to take a bath." The other maid quickly bowed and spoke, replying, "To your majesty, it's ready. I'll bring it in right away." She had already prepared herself. As long as this king man agreed, she would go out and kill herself. Staying by this woman's side would only lead to death sooner or later. Therefore, it would be better to die by herself. Tearing. With the same slap, she tore off the other maid's robes. "Bitch, you dare to lie to this king." The bewitching red color in Princess Man's eyes grew more and more intense. At this moment, a sarcastic voice arrived. "Princess Man, long time no see. You've become a king. Not only did you become a king, but you even have such prestige." This abrupt voice not only startled Princess Man, but also caused the two maids to look at the void in horror. There was clearly no one around, so where did this voice come from? Who is it? Princess Man forced herself to calm down and asked with a trembling voice. Killing others was as easy as breathing for her, but she could never let such a thing happen to her. "You forgot so quickly, ah. Back then when I looked at you, you gave me 3 knives and 6 holes." Hearing this voice, Princess Man's face turned even paler. She finally knew who the speaker was. Since coming to the Yaluan city, she had only eaten a single loss, and that person was Ning Cheng. Her cultivation method was incomplete. As such, she was definitely not an opponent against Ning Cheng. "I have no enmity with you." Princess Man had only spoken a few words when Ning Cheng interrupted her. "Wrong, you not only have enmity with me, but you also tried to refine my friend's eyes." When Princess Man heard Ning Cheng mention her friend's eyes, her eyes turned even more flustered. Not waiting for her to rush out of the city master's mansion's main hall, an invisible hand grabbed her neck and directly took her away from the city master's mansion. The two maids, whose robes had been torn off by Princess Man and thrown to the ground, saw and heard everything with their own eyes. After a long time, the taller maid finally reacted and quickly stood up and spoke. "You Min, let's hurry up and take advantage of this opportunity to escape." The other female cultivator wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth, pursed her lips and spoke. "Elder Sister Lu, with her means, if she is not dead, it would be useless for us to escape. I've heard of that Ning Cheng, he was the one who taught Princess Man a lesson. Let's make a bet that if Ning Cheng took that woman away, she would never have the chance to come back." "What bet?" the maid called Elder Sister Lu asked in a panic. "Replace that woman and take control of the entire Yaluan city." The maid called Yu Min stared at the taller maid and spoke word by word. The taller maid had not yet spoken when they heard Ning Cheng's voice once again. "Princess Man will not go back. You can also take control of the Yaluan city. But remember how you came here in the first place. If you end up like Princess Man, you will suffer retribution sooner or later." The two maids on hearing Ning Cheng's words quickly knelt on the ground and repeatedly agreed. Ning Cheng naturally did not care about how these two women took control of the Yaluan city. He just casually spoke a few words to help the innocent civilians of the Yaluan city. As for whether these two maids would listen to him or not, he would not stay here to monitor them. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.